for our country. That report, with any issues, was never tabled before us as management of the police. And I don't want to speak on behalf of the minister whether the matter was raised with him. And I think, Chair, out of respect, I don't want to say much to what was said, because we don't have the basis of the statement. But I'll just give you some highlights, which I normally will not do, but since the chair and also the statement made reference to the crime situation, the province is doing very well. There is good progress that we are making in that province. I'm just looking here at the report that the provincial commissioner provided to me up to the 16th of February, which shows the progress that we are making. In terms of contact crimes, we have realized a decrease of 12.7%. In that contact crimes, you have got murders. There is a decrease of 5.6%. Attempted murder, a decrease of 4.2%. Assault GBH, it's a decrease of 18.1%. Common assault, a decrease of 19.3%. Then when we go to common robbery, which includes attempts, we have a decrease of 21.4%. Robbery aggravated, a decrease of 14.1%. This is the situation overall in Gauteng, Chair. I therefore cannot express myself on the basis of the statement that has been made. Contact-related crimes, again, similar period. Sorry, Chair, I just want to... Yeah, contact-related crimes, a decrease of 15.8%. In that, you have got arson, which has decreased by 32.5%, and malicious damage to property decreased by 15.4%. Property-related crimes, a total decrease of 9.9%. The total other serious crimes, a decrease of 29.7%. So, Chair, I can go on with the detail. The fact of the matter is the police are at work in Gauteng. I am not aware of infighting. There are some issues that the provincial commissioner continue to raise with us in as far as the effectiveness and the efficiency of either a station commander or a cluster commander. We continuously respond to that. Just yesterday, I was signing off on a redeployment of a station commander to be able to beef up the Johannesburg Central Cluster, because it's one of the heavy clusters from a policing perspective. And the feeling of the provincial commissioner was that the cluster commander requires support of a strong deputy cluster commander. We continue, Chair, to make sure that the positions are being filled. We had an engagement, for example, in terms of revising the levels of certain stations. Midrand Police Station was, for example, commanded by a colonel. We are in a process of placing a brigadier there. Littleton is a station that is commanded by a colonel. We are in a process of reviewing the level of command at that particular station. So I can go on and on in respect of these issues. The Honorable President, during the State of the Nation address, raised an issue about Soshanguve. Amongst others, the issues relating to car hijackings and so on. We have done the necessary deployments, informed by our assessment, which is yielding results, because we have said to ourselves, you can't have a no-go area. In Soshanguve, the information at our disposal is if you have bought a car and the car is not yet registered, the chances of you being hijacked are much greater. That's the work that we have done on the ground to make sure that we do the necessary. We are not saying that the situation has been resolved, but we can confidently say that we have done the necessary to deploy. We have initiated operations to deal with that particular issue. General Masamula was saying to me, we are beginning to see a shift, which is so that when you are hitting hard in an area, there is an element of displacement. So now our concentration is also in the surrounding areas to make sure that we do not have that crime escalating in another area. So from the crime prevention, crime combating perspective, we will never be pleased, Chair, when crimes are committed, and we can never celebrate the reduction, because even if there is a reduction, people's lives are lost, people's properties are lost, and it is our resolve to continue working very hard around these particular issues. Some of the issues, Chair, that relates to the incidents of crime are cropping up out of nowhere. We had the Atteridgeville situation in addition to what we had in Rosettenville. We had the Pretoria West situation, which is demanding on our part. We will continue to do the necessary. But I can assure the Honourable Chair and Honourable Members that the situation in Gauteng is not out of control. Instead, we pride ourselves with the work that the Gauteng people are doing. Gauteng has been red for long in as far as crime is concerned. Month to month, we are seeing a developing picture towards the green. It's a very complex province, but we are not going to take our focus away from that environment. We will continue putting the resources. Where, for example, issues of command and control are made visible, we will continue to deal with them. Some of them are issues that we initiate after observing, because we continue to track performance of each and every province in all the areas. And I think, Chair, the presentations that will be made later on the crime statistics as well as on the festive season will to some extent support what we are saying. We are hard at work and will continue to do so. Chair, on the second issue that we have raised was the CPN report. As presented before the honourable members of the committee, that was the only report that was produced, and there is no other report relating to that. So the report which was presented here is considered the final report, unless there is some work which is still to be done in that regard. The issues that were raised, for example, where reference was made to review, for example, appointments, or where work was still outstanding, we had committed as part of implementing those recommendations to deal with those issues. And I think even during our presentation to the honourable members of the committee, we did allude to what what is it that we have done in as far as the review is concerned. I think, Chair, in respect of additional issues, as you invited us, the mistake that we have made was to deal with those in responding to questions. Following our presentation here, there were a number of questions that were raised, which we have responded to. But I just directed that we, by the end of the week, at least provide those matters separately as additional information that we have spoken to. That's in respect of that. On the declaration of interest, Chair, I think that matter has also been responded to in the form of, I think it was a parliamentary question. We have responded to it, and we are more than willing to provide the declaration of interest forms of all the members. Unfortunately, by the 15th of March, we will only be presenting the declaration of interest of the previous financial year, because there is an obligation for us to have submitted by the end of May. The National Commissioner is to have submitted to is it the DP Public Service Commission the end of May, which means members will still by the 15th they will still be within those timelines where they must declare their interest, because it's the declaration is on a financial year, so it kickstarts the 1st of April. So for this period that is coming, those interest we will have declared by the end of May. We are at liberty to work with the Civilian Secretariat in respect of the declaration of interest form. Maybe if that form is made visible, because we don't use a different form from the form that is dictated by DPSA. We use the very same form which our interests are being declared on. Chair, I've taken note of the consistent reminder on the submission of the 7 days submission of presentations and so on. I think I'm speaking under correction, Chair. The Gauteng one would have been, because it's a matter that was raised within the 7-day period, so it could not have been submitted much earlier. But we apologize for that late submission, and we'll continue working on what we do. Chair, in respect of management intervention and the back to basics, we will not shy away from saying that we have adopted an excellent approach. It is working for us. We see the improvement in the work of the police. It can never go without challenges. There are some challenges on the ground, but it is upon ourselves to continue to improve in those areas where we are not doing well. The model of management intervention is the way to go. We have said that there is no point in always going to stations pointing out what is wrong without rectifying the things that we find not correct. Just as an example, one of the issues that you continue to hear complaints about is the availability of police vehicles. Stations will say to you that the vehicles are forever in the police garage. They do not get out of there. We have sanctioned the management intervention team to go into each one of those garages and make sure that we get the vehicles out of there. That process is beginning to yield some benefits, including what are the frustrations, what are the stumbling blocks. An issue, for example, that was made visible is that stations will come and park a vehicle there with keys without booking it in. So no one will be knowing that the vehicle is at the garage. And we are looking at the systems and say, this cannot be, because now at station level you'll continue to say, my vehicle is not in. And you can't send a police vehicle to a garage without the accident report, because for us to fix that car, we need to know what is it that has happened, because it is public funds that are to be spent in this regard. I think they've done well in covering the stations more than what we had planned to do. But maybe in brief, General Cruiser could say one or two things.
Thanks. Chair. Just let me focus on Gauteng. I think we out of Gauteng, the 30 stations, we have 16 which is showing significant improvements in the intervention. And at this stage, it's more analysis and repair immediately. It's not even the deep intervention. Stations like Hillbrow, as an example, were an efficiency of 46%. They've now gone to 72%. And that is a very difficult station, but a lot of hard work has been done there. Pretoria Central, the same. If we look at Sunnyside, Temba, Tembisa, difficult stations, have also a significant improvement in terms of the efficiency with the work we're doing at the station itself. We have committed ourselves, and myself and the PC work together in terms of plans for the province to set up a proper system to further reduce crime. And I think for the last year we have seen significant, some of the things we put in place together with them are yielding results. Maybe not as fast as everyone wants because the volumes are huge, but it's going in the right direction, I think. And if we continue on this trajectory, I think we will reach to a correct point. Thanks.
Right, we will go to questions. Just two follow-ups from my side, then we'll go to the members. The one issue is, so General Phahlane, you say the Premier's concerns weren't brought under attention of the police management. Maybe the Provincial Commission, if she can just indicate whether the MEC of police discussed these concerns with her, because I presume the MEC gave input to the Premier's speech. If we can just get the indication, you know, in terms of Gauteng. And then General Cruiser, maybe the head of management intervention responsible for Gauteng. Is that person on the ground? Is that person involved in Athridgeville? Is that person in Rosettenville? I just want to get an indication. Let's get to the other members. On Mamula.
Thank you, Chairperson. You have covered me with the question of the MEC and the Premier. My question is, infighting is not good. We want to see stability in police. I have a question apart from the Gauteng province about the management team. Do they have programs and progress? Because what we want to see is that we must call all the intervention management team to come to us to report, because you are talking about the Gauteng, but when you go to stations, like stations from Mpumalanga, people are crying there because they said there's no improvement, no one is visiting them, no one is. So we must have a program, Chairperson, to call off all of them to give us program and the progress of the stations. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson. I should think some of the questions that you asked, I'm fine with them. The response was fine. And what the acting commissioner is saying, I believe in it, but then I should think there's something. You see, if you have a pocket of tomatoes and one gets rotten, it spoils the whole box. No matter how you can try to make a good gravy, but the thing will remain, the gravy will be not nice up to standard because the whole box is rotten. And maybe the one who bought the box was not aware that there's a rotten tomato. So I should think you need to take care of dealing, in fact, let me say, Human Resource Department, I should think they have recruited the wrong material to more especially on the ground. I don't say everybody, but there are some people that spoils the good work that you do as national, and that will make people to keep on complaining, because you plan strategically, you expect people to implement on the ground. And just because a wrong material has been recruited by the human resource and they're amongst yourselves, top to bottom, because some maybe they have been recruited long ago, now they're in the higher positions, but still being a wrong material. So I would like to know, how do you think you can sift the junk from the good material that you have recruited? Because one thing I'm certain of is that it is not everybody who is in SAPS who is a junk. Like, some are working with all of their love for the masses of South Africa, but some, because they came in being a wrong material. Some are crooks, some are mafias, some are running syndicates, some are drug lords. All those negative things, you do have them within your SAPS. That is a fact, because there are police vans that are seen distributing drugs, who are colluding with mafias, etc. And I should think I'm talking about something that you all know. And please, I'd like to know, how do you think you can curb this thing that is spoiling the good work that you are doing? Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Bele. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chairperson. I've got a handful of questions. I want to get through them quickly so that I don't take up too much time, because it's quite a full agenda this morning. If I may just piggyback on the Chairperson's question to the Gauteng Provincial Police Commissioner, General Delanga, is to find out specifically how often does the Provincial Commissioner and her provincial management team brief the provincial cabinets in Gauteng, and have that consultation session around the crime situation in the province, because one would think and hope that if it is a regular consultation, at least on a monthly basis, as I know happens in the Western Cape, then there's an opportunity to air out the issues, track the trends, so that no one is caught off guard when the Premier makes a remark in his SOPA, right? So it's about checking whether that routine is in place to give the opportunity to consult and to air the concerns and start to address them, so nobody gets caught off guard. My next aspect is just to move to the issue of the CPN report that was raised by the Chairperson. Last week we had some startling claims by Mr. McBride in reflecting on the presentation we received from the acting commissioner 2 weeks prior to that, where he said that the acting commissioner had misled Parliament on two aspects in his testimonial. The first, that the acting commissioner was in fact aware as early as, I think he said, July 2016, that Ipid had initiated the investigation currently underway, and General Phahlane had said that he wasn't aware of it until the media reports came out on it. And the second claim was that Ipid had not yet received the proof of payment from the acting commissioner concerning the issue of the stereo in his home. That's been the focus of the investigation, and that all Ipid had in fact received was an email of instruction to the bank to effect payments, but bank statements and proof of the transaction was not yet received. So a question still remained around that. So I'd like to ask the acting commissioner for his response to that, and the explanation or clarification. And Chairperson, also just to make the point that I made 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, that it really would be useful in doing our oversight and our scrutiny as the committee to have both the Ipid leadership and the SAPS leadership, in particular Mr. McBride and General Phahlane, together in the same room, so we can have a real-time, interactive discussion around this to get the inputs, so we aren't playing, watching a delayed tennis game where the one side lobs and then we've got to wait a week, and then the other side lobs and we wait another week. Can we please just find a way and a process, especially because the claim of misleading Parliament is a serious one. So we must get clarity on that as soon as possible. And then to wrap up, Chair, on the issue of crime in Gauteng and Premier Makura's sober remarks that you raised, General Phahlane made the response that one of the trends to reference is the decrease in contact crimes, and I'm sure we'll get some more detail in the crime stats presentation later. But Chair, I want to say that I would put my head on the block, especially with reference to the Stats SA reports from last week, that the decrease in crime categories that are dependent on proactive reporting by the victims are more reflective of decreased and decreasing levels of confidence and trust by the public in the police to be able to do anything about that. So people are increasingly stopping to report in the first place because they don't believe it'll go anywhere if they report to the police. So that numerical decrease in the numbers is not necessarily reflective of the situation on the ground, and I've raised this point before a number of times in committee when we had previous crime stats presentations. So I'm afraid I don't buy that line because what we hear from qualitative reports, admittedly sometimes anecdotal reports on the ground, is that people's perceptions and experience in reality is not what the bar graphs what the graphs are showing that we get from the SAPS. And what this says to me, Chair, is that there are at least parts of senior management, to echo Honourable Mabija about the minority of Rotten Tomatoes. There are at least parts of senior management at national and provincial level who are out of touch with the reality at station level, the performance actually happening there, the dynamics that are at play. Because, I mean, Moffat View, I know we're coming to it, so I won't delve into it. I did an oversight visit there in December 2015, and I met with the station commander and spoke to some residents in the area. Big problems, massive problems in that precinct, Chairperson, and when that story gets repeated at station level, in Moffat View, in Kliptown, in Timber, all the oversight places I've been to, you just know that the high level and the ground level at station level, there's a massive disconnect happening there, and the people on the ground are not seeing what we're told is happening. And as I said to the acting commissioner when we first received the presentation on the Back to Basics strategy, the proof will be in the pudding. If people feel safer, and if the perception and the experience of the police service by citizens on the ground improves, that's when we know we're getting somewhere. We're not getting somewhere because people are reporting cell phone muggings less and less. So my question in that regard, Chairperson, for a response from the acting commissioner and his team, Also, if I may springboard on what Honorable Mabija said about the recruitment that's happening and the human resource management and whether we're getting bang for our buck in that regard, is when was the last time that there was a comprehensive skills audit in the SAPs at all levels in order to assess fitness for purpose? Because the experience, certainly mine at times, and as I think we'll know anecdotally, is sometimes you encounter really good officers, constables, warrant officers, sergeants, who are on the ball, they're committed, they're dedicated, professional, efficient, effective, and you're just like, I hope this person rises up the ranks rapidly because they deserve it. And then you come across some real disappointments, to put it mildly. And if those people are, if that is not picked up on, and those people are not performance managed out, or at least assisted to improve their performance, it's going to be status quo. It's going to get worse, because you find that that'll demotivate the good officers when they see that they don't get fair reward for their efforts and there is no consequence for bad performance. So their logic would be, why bother? Because I'm not going to get anywhere if I do well and they do badly, but we end up on the same level anyway. So we've really got to get that consequence management, that human resource management, and that enforcement of accountability at all levels, at command and control in policing terms. And that's when we're going to start seeing it filter through to the ground level, at station level performance, as General Cruiser says, is starting to happen. But we've got to see it quicker, we've got to see it more widespread, and we've got to see it be more sustained. Thanks, Chairperson. Just those two questions, please.
Thank you, Honourable Bella. Honourable Malakane. Thank you.
No, thank you, Honourable Chair. Just quick, before the assumptions is arrived at that we didn't have a nice sleep last night, so we're going to have it on the police. The contrary is the truth. Actually, we must say that there's thousands and thousands of men and women in the police who every day do an excellent work. And I think as the committee we must always say that we value that. We remain indebted to that kind of commitment of those men and women in blue. There are thousands of them. The problem is the minority problem that we are focusing at. For an example, National Commissioner, and I think I see the Deputy General on the Hawks, from the Hawks. The last week in our engagement, we got some shocking information. Now, the question I want to ask both the Hawks and the police is, what do you know what is happening at OR Tambo with respect to drug syndicates, and the drug syndicates that include some of the police officers? What do you know? Maybe it would be useful to pose the question that way. And if you do know anything about it, what action are you taking to stamp it out? Because it certainly is giving the country and the airport a bad name, especially when the allegation points to men and women in blue. So that's really the question, first question. Second one, Honourable Chair, is a dilemma we have. We have a statement by the Premier of Gauteng about crime in Gauteng. And I think we must say we're quite happy to hear the direct information about progress that has been made in Gauteng. There's a statement of concern, a statement of worry by the Premier of Gauteng, which suggests that there are certain things that are going wrong, and you are saying no. Actually, Gauteng is actually is cruising. I see you shaking your head now when I say it's cruising. No, so it's not cruising. So it's Gauteng, you're saying it's stable, it's doing good work and so on. But why would the Premier have this perspective? Why would he have these concerns as a first citizen of Gauteng? And why would the Premier, in fact, his concern may have been managed through an accurate information that comes from the police management, or not, let me not say police management because too general, from the Provincial Commissioner of Gauteng, because that information should be basically flowing through. Does this point to probably the relationship issue, or lack of sharing of information that may suggest that accountability structure solid line goes to NASCOM, and its dotted line goes to the MEC, and that influences the flow of information from the provincial commissioner to the MEC, from the MEC to the Premier, hence the message of concern which is now necessarily been disputed. So I just want to find out, what is the problem? Is it a relationship problem? What is it that we should do? In fact, because we would need to get to the concrete, conclusive understanding about Gauteng, given this two statement, or the Premier and the statement that is made by NASCOM. We still want to hear from the Gauteng. We would have to get to some conclusion, conclusive discussion as what Gauteng situation is, so that it's able, because we can't leave it like that. We can't leave it with a message from the Premier which is very difficult to change, because you can't convene another state of a province to rectify the issue. But I think there must be a process towards that. So that's where I'm going to leave it, Chair, that I know that I do have other questions, but let me leave it for the later presentation, Chair. Thanks.
Thank you. Honourable Mhlongo, you're welcome.
No, thank you, Chairperson. No, I think members have covered me in various respects, Chairperson. However, my main concern, Chairperson, is with regard to the systems that we are applying, even ourselves, maybe as the Portfolio Committee, of course, guided by certain regulations or statutes, which will at times need some kind of robust engagement from our side, whether it helps us. For example, if, for example, the Premier, I heard the Premier of Gauteng, for example, complaining about this question, then I ask myself, if then there is a mean-make a structure, how effective this organ is, and I'm looking at ourselves here, we are supposed to be running an oversight over policing of the country as a whole. If then the Premier, as a head of the province, is complaining, he's part of us. Now, on the other hand, we have some serious political decisions that we need to reflect on, Chairperson. You know, one of my brothers is a scientist in somewhere in the area of Pretoria. I couldn't believe when he was hijacked by some foreign nationals right in the center of the town of Pretoria, taken to a particular flat, interrogated to give his cell phone bank details and all that, you know, helplessly. A very, 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 very strategic person in the affairs of human resources of this country. And these are the decisions that rest with us at a political level, when we are just saying the country is good for the country to be just a free for all, are we expecting our men and women in blue to actually deal with these problems on their own, or those problems hinge back to us at a political level? These are the things that I'm trying to raise, to say the systems that we are putting in place or adopting, finally informed by our constitution, will have to be looked at very strongly. I was shocked, for example, during this morning, there is a serious message here mobilizing even foreign nationals to take up arms. I just said, I'm going to show the police this thing, because it talks to the national security of the country, that if people are just threatening us to say they are going to invite Boko Haram and some certain lunatics from the African states to actually then unleash armed revolution against nationals of the country, that's a serious threat to the national security of the country. Then it talks to us at a political level. Are we honest in the decision making that we are taking about the welfare of the country? Because really, our people are complaining. And when our people are complaining, then at a political level, we keep on saying, no, we are one. And that's why I was hurt. And I was very much angry even with the civilian secretary to say that they are just going to be running programs to say that we are one. I'm not one with the drug dealers who come to my country. Here, I don't care whether they can be black or what. If they come and actually spoil the game of peace in my country, those people are not welcome in my country. Certainly not, because that thing destroys the social fiber of our own youth. And what do we do with that particular thing? Or else we are going to continue on the latitude of living a falsehood life and just pretend that we don't have problems with some of our own black people who come here illegally into this country. Those are the things, Chairperson, which I'm trying to provoke a kind of reasoning that will transcend the cheap kind of thinking that at times we use, and at the end of the day, I'm not trying to say that I'm protecting members in blue. Certainly, there are some of the problems that they need to run an introspection, as some members have actually raised, of which I agree on the question to say, can we lock ourselves under one room on what Ipid actually raised, so that we can then actually clear the air on these particular areas and be honest to ourselves. But I was raising this, Chairperson, because some of the systems, I spoke to one member of the research saying that at times,
Honorable Mhlongo, if you can just...
I'm just coming to an end, Chairperson. I'm just coming to an end to say, as I was looking at the civilian secretariat structure, to say, maybe we will need to review this particular thing, as I've been raising it as a matter of concern, to say, if policing is a national competence, we cannot have monitoring left to provinces, and then at the end of the day we get complaints from provinces, yet many provinces are not actually then complying with the directive that is actually expected of them to implement policing systems that will actually then inform the national system. For example, on the secretariat, provincial secretariat, we have it, even in Gauteng. I haven't seen a report, because I don't even know how these people report. Because those people, I believe, as a politician here, I represent those people who are ordinary people of Gauteng, who are said to be affected by criminals. But even only if, at a political level, you have got this laxity of situation, then we keep just quiet and begin to say that and pretend as if things are running normal, when things in fact are not normal. Things are not normal in our country. And if we are not actually then getting a wake-up call, tomorrow we will end up with a very untenable situation in this country. I can tell you, Chairperson, I'm sorry to say that, but I can just see this thing coming. I have seen it in KZN, and I think it is a general trend taking place throughout the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, members. Honorable Groenewald.
Thank you, Chair. I hope there's still time left for me. And let I say to my honourable colleague at my left who's getting quite excited, yeah, he must remember that the minister himself said that the police is controlled by foreign nationals or foreign forces. So you must just understand that. Chairperson, no, on a serious note. A recent survey has showed that the trust of the public in the police services has declined from about 64% to 58%. That's very serious, because people in South Africa trust the police to ensure that they are safe. And I want to say to the acting National Commissioner, part of this decrease in trust is this whole spat between himself and Ipid. And Chairperson, there are questions that has been asked now, but I know what the answers are going to be. Yes, Robert McBride said that. Well, I differ from it because I say it's this. So it's you say, I say. It actually worsens the situation when it comes to the image of the police services and also to the trust of the public in the police. And my question, Chairperson, on that specific issue to the Acting Commissioner, how does he think that we must solve this problem? On what way? Because if you look the way and actions that is taking place, the arrest of O'Sullivan and his assistant, it's a show of force. It is a matter of intimidation, because that is the idea and the image the public is getting from the police services. The moment you're involved in some or other issue where a police man or woman is involved, you're going to be confronted with police force. That's not good. We must solve that. On the drugs at OR Tambo, Chairperson, my question is quite clear. Why is it that we had to wait for Ipid to do an investigation and to find what is going on there? It was said in the previous meeting of the Portfolio Committee that some police members even actually fighting. Now, who's going to get the drugs in the end? Why? There's something wrong with the system that the police services itself couldn't have identified the problem. Why do we have to wait for Ipid to do the investigation? And I'd like to have an answer on that. My last one, Chairperson, on Gauteng. I heard what the Acting Commissioner said, and he stated some statistics. Good statistics. Decrease in this and decrease in that, and he doesn't understand the remarks by the Premier and everything. Now, Chairperson, I want to give the Commissioner some other statistics. Not my statistics, the police own statistics on Gauteng. The statistics is when it comes to the contact crimes. Not only in Gauteng. Murder for the semester, increase of 6.9%. Sexual assault, increase 4.2%. Attempted murder, increase of 17.4%. Common assault, increase of 1.1%. Robbery with aggravated circumstances, increase of 9.3%. On the trio crimes, carjacking in Gauteng, increase of 14%. Robbery in the residential premises, an increase of 9.5%. Robbery at non-residential premises, an increase of 6.1%. Serious crimes with serious increases in Gauteng. I don't understand that the Commissioner then say, but he's satisfied because the statistics he have shows that there's a decrease. Can we get an answer on this anomaly, on the own statistics in Gauteng of the police? I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, members. We will then take the responses. Then we will go to the Moffat Station presentation, and if there's other follow-ups regarding Gauteng, members can also raise it under that heading. Acting National Commissioner, thank you.
Thanks, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. Let me start with the questions raised by Honorable Groenewald. And just confirm that the statistics that Honorable Groenewald has are our statistics, and they are not contradicted at all. When I spoke earlier, I said the February statistics. It's a comparative analysis of the February statistics as to how the province in this period is performing compared to the previous period in the previous year. And we will have, for example, looked at that picture in terms of the increases and had said to ourselves that the situation in Gauteng requires much more attention. And it is beyond that first semester that we have noted the decreases that we are talking about. And I am not going to create the impression that all is well in Gauteng. I have already said that there are some challenges, but we can repeat ourselves and say that work is being done, and the officers in Gauteng are putting an effort which is beginning to show results. We can't take our focus away from Gauteng because Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, Western Cape, Eastern Cape are the biggest contributors in crime, and Gauteng is one of those hotspots. If you go and look at the number of stations that are categorized as hotspots, you'll find some in Gauteng. Those, as Honorable Groenewald has spoken to the statistics, I suspect it is the statistics that we will talk to later when we talk to the crime stats, as well as when we look at the issues relating to the festive season operations. Drugs, Chair. I did not pay much more attention to the presentation that was made here. That presentation, we would have spoken to some incidents which are under investigation by Ipid. I'm now specifically referring to drugs, Chair. And I don't want to venture into that presentation. It was not made by me. But I can assure the committee, the honorable members, that work at the OR Tambo International Airport is ongoing. We do have approaches to deal with the situation there. We have admitted as management that it is problematic. We continue to be engaging with our stakeholders, amongst others, AXA, and so on, who continue to be raising concerns at that level. There are interventions following up on some of the organized nature of crime which is committed around the airports that involves our own members. Now, we are not going to single out this particular incident that unfortunately resulted in the death of a member there around Kempton Park. It is a situation that must be of concern to us, and the impression created that that's the norm or the order of the day in the airport. It's one that we do not subscribe to, but we are not going to disagree with the fact that there has been some challenges in that particular area between crime intelligence, the Hawks, and the detective services. They continue to do work, and we hope that at some point we will get all those that are involved in that particular area. To the Honourable Groenewald, on the Ipid subs matter or Phahlane McBride matter, I must agree, it is not good for the organization. It is not good for the country. It cannot go on forever. But I hope that at some point we do not subscribe to a trial through the media. We do not subscribe to people serving their own purposes, continuing to throw allegations and allegations without doing what they are supposed to be doing, which is investigation, to allow an outcome. I am not keeping myself busy with the media in this regard. I think I was before the committee and said it should not take my focus away from what we are supposed to be. I can't help it. I don't control those that continue on daily basis to write stories about the very same issue. A straight answer, how to solve it: do your investigation, conclude that investigation, let decisions be taken based on the outcome of the investigation, and not continue to create sensation and hullabaloo out there in the media. I think, Chair, I want to link that together with the questions that Honorable Mbele raised. And at no point would I have came here before Parliament to come and mislead Parliament. And it is not going to happen in the future. We were very clear when I was here talking to this matter as to when was I officially informed of the investigation. That's not going to change. Anyone who has got different facts must prove. I am not going to stoop low in debating on that, because the facts are just clear. On the day that I was approached by the Ipid people in my office, that's the day that I officially got to know about the investigation. Somewhere I'm being told I've known as early as July or June, July. Too many contradictions. At some point, I'm being told I have known as early as January. At some point, I've known as early as March. Which of these dates are correct? Honorable Chair, I opt not to stoop low on this particular matter. It's a matter of a subject of an investigation, and if anyone has got facts proving the opposite, they must tender those facts before a competent authority charged with investigations. On proof of payment, similarly, it is not my duty to do investigations for Ipid. One of the documents they had at their disposal was a bank statement from the place where the music system was procured. Now, that bank statement would have reflected that this was not cash, it was, a transfer. An EFT. Those who are competent in investigations will then track from which account was this EFT effected. So, when attached to that was an invoice from the same place, whose amounts correlate with the amount which is reflected on the bank statement of the person from whom the system was procured. What is difficult? If you get provided with proof to say a bank was instructed to transfer X amount, which amount is exactly the amount which is on the invoice, an amount which is sitting in the bank statement of the recipient. What makes it difficult to bring the correlation in that regard? And I am very clear on what had happened there. Let the investigation take its course. But somewhere we must guard jealously the waste of taxpayers' money and the continuous peddling of an issue which is out there. Chair, I think even during my appearance here, I have provided a substantial response to the issues. In addition to what we have said here, I have provided the honourable members with the bid, the court papers that are in the process, to which some of that proof is being attached. maybe the one question that I did not deal with from Honorable Groenewald is the suggestion of an intimidation. It is unfortunate that that's a perception which is being created. But I thought that one of the reasons why I agree to be investigated is that all of us are equal before the laws of our country, and that no one is superior when it comes to that. So to me, it doesn't matter whether it is Phahlane or it is O'Sullivan. If he has committed a crime, equally so, he must be investigated. Unfortunately, he has got the super status, because if any one of the honorable members were to commit crime now and we have got evidence, we will approach you and arrest you, you'll go to court. He has got a grace period. Even if he were to kill someone here, you are supposed to say, sorry sir, in 48 hours you must present yourself before a police station. That's super status, which even our president doesn't have. But I am not going to get involved in investigations, Honorable Chair, where, for example, there is a contravention of some kind. It must be investigated, and it should not be an investigation which is only directed at others, and others are supposed to be excluded from that particular process. Honorable Chair, going back, Honorable Mullah raised an issue about the program, whether we have got programs, and particularly in the stations. I think General Cruiser has been before the Honorable Committee, but there is nothing wrong if we were to be called back and specifically focus on the program of management interventions in terms of all the provinces and so on. And that process is well underway. We continue, Honorable Chair, to capacitate the management intervention to enable them to deal with the issues. Amongst others, we continue to transport best practices. If, for example, we found something working in a particular area, we will go and try and adapt it for implementation in another area. I think Honorable Mabija's question was what to do to avoid spoiling the good work of the police. We admit that amongst us are rotten elements. We will continue to do work in as far as investigations and so on are concerned, and deal with those issues. But these are problems that are coming a long way, and we agree that we are not going to resolve them overnight, but there are efforts. That is why, amongst others, we have re-established the anti-corruption unit within the SAPS. While we have got that capacity in the DPCI, we have re-established it. We also have established integrity management within our structures to try and deal with some of these issues. The question, Honorable Chair, that you have raised on the Premier MEC, I ordinarily do not want to talk about our principles. Safe to say that, Chair, I have noted the statement that was made during the State of the Province address by the Premier, the concerns that were raised there. We will, as management at national level, I will make contact with the Premier to have an engagement so that we are provided with details in relation to that particular matter, but also make an undertaking to present to the Premier and the provincial executive the status of policing in the province and generate from that what the concerns are for us to be able to respond accordingly. But I'll, upon conclusion of some of these questions, allow the provincial commissioner just to talk to us on some of these issues. And I don't think, Honorable Chair, it's a relationship issue. There are no relationship issues between us, the Premier, and the MEC. We consider them to be our principals. Unfortunately, I do not have the background as to what went in formulating that particular statement, but we will address it. Maybe Honorable Mhlongo spoke about the MINMAC. I'm serving, or I'm in attendance during the MINMAC meetings, and there is engagement on various issues around policing. And the MEC, for example, have a liberty to call me or the Minister of Police if there are issues which we then respond to. Honorable Mbele raised an issue about Stats SA. I'm not sure whether I will want to agree with Honorable Mbele's version. I want to continue to applaud members of the South African Police Service for the work that they are doing. The police can be an answer to all the problems in the country. I hear some crimes could not have happened if the police are there. We're not there. Maybe at some point we must be educated, because our approach, which we have advanced here, is to be proactive. And when we say we are going to be proactive, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are not going to have crime being committed, because some of these are crimes that happens behind closed doors. We are recording a decrease. Somewhere we must be commended nationally when it comes to murders. A killing of one person, it's a killing too much. But we are working very hard in reversing what is happening. And there are gains in many categories of crime. We will show later, maybe unfortunately, the presentation we will do on the crime statistics, Honorable Chair, it's old. That's my view. It's the first semester, the first 2 months of the crime situation. But the third quarter, after 9 months, it shows commendable progress, and we are certain that we are going to do much better than what we have done in the previous financial year because of members of the South African Police Service. The fight against crime is never solely a policing issue. Instead of continuing to hurl stones at the police, somewhere we must say, what is it that we must do in our communities to help the police to deal with the crime situation? Honorable Chair, was just reading an article from Stockholm. There is violence there. What created that violence? Drugs. Who? Foreign nationals in that. A policeman went to arrest a foreign national and the community is up in arms. We have those happening here in our own country. Now, what we are confronted with as the South African Police Service is not a unique South African situation. But we can't fold our arms, Honorable Chair, and celebrate and say it is not only a South African situation. But, Honorable Chair, we may want to give the police credit where it is due. Crime is a problem, but the police are doing their best in bringing down crime levels. Our presentation later will show the progress that we are making. So I'm not going to go into the report of the Statistician General, which report I interfaced with it like any other citizen. Once we have seen what is being communicated there, we have laid our hands on that report to do work internally so that we understand what what is being said there and what is the impact on the work that we are doing. The issue of skills, it's an ongoing process, Chair. We continue to present before the Honourable Committee what we are doing around skills development, and we can't go and develop skills if you did not do a gap analysis and say, what is it that you require in that particular space? So many a times an impression is being created that here is an organization which is static. Policing, it's never static. Therefore, you continuously must be looking at the competency of the people, the skills of the people, the deployment of the people. That is why we continue to be moving people around, which is what we have done once we have developed the structures to facilitate the placement of people in the right positions. I think in a way, Honorable Ramatlakane, I have dealt with the airport issue. It is not only that airport. It is in the ports of entries. There are a number of areas where there are projects and interventions underway dealing with the organized crime, which amongst others involves our members. So what was...
The second question that was asked to me, how often does the provincial team brief the provincial cabinet? Honorable Chair, since my appointment as the Provincial Commissioner of Gauteng, I presented only once the crime of Gauteng to the cabinet. I was presenting the crime of 2015-2016 financial year. However, I am on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis and quarterly basis, sending the crime stats to the office of the MEC. I have never presented any crime stats to the cabinet of Gauteng. I don't know whether the Premier have got the picture of Gauteng, of the crime picture of Gauteng. I have never presented any crime stats to the Premier or to the provincial cabinet. But on a quarterly basis, we are presenting the crime picture of Gauteng to the portfolio committee. I've done that more than 3 times, whereby we are interacting, we are presenting to the portfolio committee. The last one was the programs. Chairperson, we've got programs in place, and we are interacting with the Office of the Premier, Office of the MEC, on a weekly, monthly basis. In each and every challenges, when we are experiencing any challenges, the MEC is there to assist us. So we've got programs in place, whereby we are interacting directly with the community through the Office of the MEC. Thank you, Chairperson.
Just maybe a short follow-up before we do the presentation. I'll give members also opportunity for follow-ups after the station briefing. Is there also weekly or monthly meetings with the MEC of Gauteng? I just want to get an indication.
Chairperson, yes, we are meeting with the MEC on a weekly basis. Every Tuesday, 7 o'clock, I am meeting with the MEC. We are discussing issues of crime, and also when the MEC calls a meeting for us to meet with, we are, as the provincial management, we are meeting with the MEC.
She never raised issues of infighting?
Never, ever. It's for the first time I hear that.
Thank you for that. Let's go to the presentation on the station, and I'll give members then an opportunity after that if there's any follow-ups. Let's go to the briefing on Moffat View Police Station, Central Cluster, Johannesburg.
Honorable Chair, with your permission, Major General Rajin, the Cluster Commander of Johannesburg Central, will talk to the presentation.
Thank you, the Honorable Chairperson of this committee. The contents of this presentation will have the profile of Moffat View Police Station, in particular Rosettenville residential area, the recent protest history in Rosettenville, measures implemented to address the occurrence of the violence, the South African Police Service and Johannesburg Metro Police Department and operational forums in existence, the monitoring and evaluation of this plan. Chairperson, Moffat View Police Station became a fully fledged station since 1st of April 2012. Prior to this, it was a satellite to Boyson's Police Station. The area that is policed for this police station is 42 square kilometers. The population in this area, according to the 2011 census, is approximately 72,000, but it can be more than that because there's lots of migration of workers and foreigners into this area. The population itself is mixed. The description of the infrastructure in this area, we have the area of built-up houses which are properly secured and locked, and it's difficult for access to the police. There's residential flats, Chairperson, which are also locked with burglar bars and difficult for entrances of the police. There's an industrial area there. There's one major shopping mall called the Glen Shopping Mall. There's one shopping center called the Junction. I will come to that in the Rosettenville profile. There's 12 schools in this area. There's 10 primary schools, 2 high schools, and 4 combined colleges where you have a primary and a high school in one. The total number of members policing this area is 139, made up of 75 visible policing members, 41 detectives, and 23 support members. The vehicles for this area are 41 in total. For the visible policing is 21, detectives 15, and support 5. Chairperson, in this station area, there's 3 sectors. It's made up of 3 sectors. Rosettenville itself falls under Sector 1, and it consists of suburbs like La Rochelle, The Hill, the Regent's Park, Reloch, Glenesk, Wimapen, Springfield, and Townsville. Then Sector 2, which has Lynmere, Oakdean, Glen Eagles, Glenanda, Risana, Taubi, and the Glen Shopping Center itself. The Moffat View area has Rose Acres, Springbok, Unigray, Electron, Steeldale, City Deep, the market itself, South Eels, Elance Park, Tulisa Park, and South Crescent. Now we go in particular to Rosettenville suburb. It is in Sector 1, it's 2.29 square kilometers. It has approximately 17,000 people. As I indicated previously, there's a high migration of workers and foreigners in this area. The population itself is mixed. There's a Okay, the history in the Rosettenville area of this recent incidents, Chairperson. We had an application before the 4th of February for a peaceful demonstration to hand over a memorandum. And the concerns was, I will go straight to the demands made by the community. They marched about 30 people to the police station, ended in a memorandum. The memorandum demanded SAPS investigate the illegal transfer of properties. SAPS visibly police and control illegal immigrants plaguing Rosettenville with the Department of Home Affairs. SAPS to visibly fight the drug prostitution scourge that is plaguing Rosettenville. SAPS officials to listen to the concerns and issues faced by the community of Rosettenville and assist in their resolution. SAPS to address the community concerns that officials are protecting and serving the interest of immigrants over delivering the rights of South Africans. This writer the server put a phone number and a name on the memorandum. The station commander prepared a representation, but he did not answer his phone. He did get hold of him, but the person did not come for the report. Spontaneously on the 5th of February, the community is then gathered at Verona and Prairie Street. They mobilized in different groups, went and burnt a house. They didn't burn a house, they went to 52 Egg Street, took out the stuff and burnt it on the street. They then proceeded to Norman and Victoria, and then they went to the pub. Immediately, the provincial office and the cluster did special deployments into the area, And on the 6th, we increased our deployments by quite a large numbers. And we gave additional taskings. Like the previous taskings, we added in more taskings to the crime intelligence of what is planned within the community. On the 7th of February, we addressed the community police forums regarding the roles and responsibilities. Chairperson, this followed up a meeting that was held on the 26th of January, whereby the station commander and myself addressed about 250 to 300 community members regarding the improvement of the CPF in that community. And it was there highlighted that the CPF members didn't know the roles and responsibilities. So on the 7th, we had a follow-up meeting to guide them on what are the roles. On the 7th, the province called another meeting, and we had further assistance from the provincial office. From the 7th till the 11th, there was an increased deployment in Rosettenville itself. But on the 11th, the community gathered and mobilized again and ensued with this public violence. They set up 12 houses alight. And that was with intention, but there was a 13th house burned where the fire spread through the ceiling or the roof of the house because the both houses were attached. 2 suspects were arrested out of this incident. 5 criminal cases have been registered for arson and public violence. In one of the cases, there are 7 houses included because the owners of the houses did not come forward. And it's difficult to trace the owners of those houses. The provincial management with the national office and the cluster responded with an operation with the key objectives. Ensure operational readiness for the happenings in Rosettenville. We established a coordinating structure at station, cluster, provincial, and national office. And so this is the immediate actions of the police. The second objective was to address the identified crime generators and priority crimes of the area. If you look, it's noted as drugs, it's noted as sex workers, prostitution, it's noted as abandoned buildings. So we identified those crime generators, and we conduct high density operations. We also identify the high flyers. The high flyers and the repeat offenders, those that are living there unemployed, are owning expensive cars and are running some of these houses. We will go deeper into the investigation in the police terms, the Section 252A authority and the 205 onto the bank accounts. We then went and addressed the hijacked and abandoned buildings. Those buildings, as I said, are mostly closed and they are clean, but they are left by the owners and are gone away, some of them out of the country and some out of the provinces. It comes to the attention of the police that this building is hijacked when the sheriff of court comes there and say, somebody has occupied this house, we want to remove them, we have a lawful court order. And then it comes to the police's attention. But we improved our crime intelligence here to go and identify some of this and check on the owners. Who are they paying the money to? So we need to go and do a Section 205. We have done some of them already, open files on the bank accounts where this money are paid out to. We also improved the community relations. Here the provincial head corporate communication is directly liaising with the media. She was already on Radio 702 in the various other medias. These operations, Chairperson, is ongoing. It's not stopping. It's an ongoing process. The successes and the operation itself will be monitored. I'll come back to the end of the presentation. In the establishment, when the incident happened, we immediately established a venue operations center. It is at the corner of Verona and Prairie Street. There's a properly constructed center with cameras, with radios, and police go there and get the additional briefing of what is happening in the area. The daily parades, I will come to that over and above the normal deployment in this area. From the provincial joint operations with the national joint structures, assistance from the Deputy National Commissioner Policing, the parades are held at Rand Stadium, and there's over 125 members on the parade from 7 to 7, and a senior officer from my office addresses this parade. And additional tasking is given to the crime intelligence. This parade is briefed on the crime intelligence reports of what we have done, the houses that need to be raided, what houses that was raided and nothing was found, and then additional houses that was given on the list, and the hotspots of the area. The hotspots are patrolled, and there's VCPs in those areas. Then we gave in the integrated approach are involving the Johannesburg Metro Police Department, the Department of Home Affairs, that is where we are looking at the foreigners, the Department of Health, the Department of Human Settlement, the local council themselves, the non-government organizations like eNCA, Letemba, community-based organizations like SANCO itself, you'll see some of the video clippings there, the National Prosecuting Authority to improve the investigation in this matter, the Department of Correctional Services, so that we identify repeat offenders and those that are out on bail or out on parole. The special deployments, when the parades are held, they go out into the area, they do stop and search, they're searching the people. There's vehicle checkpoints. There's a social crime prevention project where we go around and doing awareness. The corporate communication is also involved there. We are conducting targeted observations, Chairperson. These observations are in those hotspots identified by the communities, identified by informers, and through other intelligence structures. We conduct roadblocks and block searches. The block searches where the old buildings are blocked off and we search there. We didn't apply for a 13-7, but as the information comes in, we do those block searches. There's thorough investigation of the cases. They're given to the Provincial Investigation Unit. The special person, Colonel, is appointed to do those cases. And as I said, we'll go deeper into the cell phone records of the person who's paid, other issues regarding investigation. We have given support to the operation environment by the legal services. This is where the legal services are trying to assist us with a project regarding the illegal sex workers that are operating in the area, and there's large numbers of them. And if you read our modus operandi, a lot of people are robbed in the driveways. And that day of the 26th, when we gave our speech, we mobilized the communities to say, we need your assistance. Our modus operandi is saying people are sitting in the driveways. A man is sitting in the driveway with his girlfriend and then is hijacked off the motor vehicle. When we look to get the witness statement, we don't find the witness statement. And the legal services are assisting us with that. They already registered the project. We are tracing of wanted suspects. We are ensuring liquor compliance, and we are enforcing that. On the next page, we'll see on the presentation, Chairperson, there's a total of 125 members that are deployed on a day basis and on a night basis. On the night, it is actually increased by JMPD, who brings in additional 20 members. And on days, the province also gave us 68 additional members over and above this 125. These members are posted only in Rosettenville, and it came in also through the national intervention. When we identified the crime generators, we went more detail. We said we have the visible policing to deal with the crime. It's proactive, it's visibly patrolling the area, doing the roadblocks, but we said over and above that, we must go more deeper in terms of the organized crime approach. So here we are addressing the identified hotspots. We are doing an integrated approach to Rosettenville and Moffatview. We have identified a few of the drug addresses, but Chairperson, if you see for the last year from 2016, 0201, there was 360 people arrested for dealing and possession of drugs in Moffatview. From September 2016 to December, there was 119 arrests for drug dealers and possession of drugs in this area. From January to February, there was 35 arrests. So we want to improve our investigation, and we want to close those drug dens and brothels. The WISPOL is concentrating on raiding of the second-hand dealers where it is alleged the cell phones are going and the liquor premises. We increase our visibility there. All operations are intelligence driven. The intelligence give us information about the priority areas, the hotspots, and then we deal with those areas. We closing of identified nightclubs. We already went to the Temptation nightclub in large groups with a joint task team with local bylaw enforcement, the SEPs, and other role players. We went in there and we found that they are complying. So we did not close them, but we are dealing with them as the intelligence come in of the nightclubs. Then the DPCI and crime intelligence, identifying the high flyers and the registering of projects and network operations. I know of already 4 that has been signed up, and we're already dealing with that. That is linking up people with the cell phones, the information, and other networks that they're operating together in the drug dealing. We want to close all those dens because they are crime generators there. With that, we said that we have liaised with the National Prosecuting Authority. We're prioritizing those cases just like before. Now we want to improve it. We needed advice from them in where we were going wrong with some of the cases because 99 dockets of these drugs are still pending. 41 still got further court dates, and the prosecutor have written instructions in there. What must we do and how must we improve the investigation in those dockets? Out of those dockets that are reported, 11 had convictions and 5 was withdrawn for warrant issues. In most of those cases, Chairperson, the suspects are both South African and Nigerians or other foreign nationals. But as soon as the person is arrested and the police pick up that he has asylum paper or is a foreign national, his status is immediately verified. And Home Affairs issue a Section 205 statement on this person, whether he or she is legal in the country. Then the investigating officer takes it from there and reports it to Home Affairs. This person has committed an offense of drug dealing or possession of drugs. We also said that asset forfeiture unit going to be included in these operations, and we will take away people's assets in terms of the Prevention of Organized Crime Act. Chapters 5 and 6 will possess the assets. We said we'll address the hijacked and abandoned building. This is where we're going to involve the relevant authorities. There's an advocate from the local government who's involved with us here, and we are liaising with the community to provide us with the information. But we have several units, part of this committee, addressing the abandoned and bad buildings in Johannesburg, especially in Rosettenville. I said most of the buildings, houses are locked up and the people are gone. You won't find them in the houses, but the houses are kept neat, the grass is cut. Some of them rented the houses out, and then the tenants feel that they will take over the house, and they usually rent it out to some of the sex workers. But that's why we involve the CPF there, Disaster Management, Department of Health, Department of Community Safety is also on board. The relevant local government structures are involved. Gauteng Traffic is involved, JMPD, and the detectives and WISPOL of the cluster, the province and national is involved here. We have a coordinating of the intelligence structures here for this identification of bad buildings. And at that committee where the advocate is sitting on, all the role players are there. The corporate communications themselves have implemented a PR campaign, and it was already, as I said, on Radio 702 and various of the papers around in the area. We have done social crime prevention.
Sorry, it's 3 minutes to round off, ne?
Okay, we have mobilized the communities there through awareness campaigns. To answer the last part, the JMPD and SEPs operational forums. We have established the Gauteng Law Enforcement Agency, which is the overall body with a subcommittee. For example, the bad buildings, the taxi offences, the bylaw enforcement. That is where you get hawkers and people who are trading long hours. We involve them, and also the counterfeit goods operation. Then their structures are informed via the subcommittees of the GLIF. It's called the GLIF. Then we have the SEPS operational forums, coordinating committees, internal that are deployed there. It starts from the provincial joints, the Provincial Crime Combating Forum, the Cluster Crime Combating Forum, and this is where some of the role players like Home Affairs, the JMPD, and for specifically Rosettenville is a superintendent who is representing there and is given the tasking, and he works with the coordinating structures. There's an integrated approach in all operations with the JMPD, where the old VCPs, I don't want to repeat it, the stop and search operations, the bylaw enforcement, they also involve in road safety, traffic control, static management at the major event of Rand Stadium, specifically for Rosettenville. This plan is monitored. We cannot leave it like that. It's monitored and evaluated. Accountability sessions are held from the province, the cluster, to the station. Visits are done by the duty officer of the station, the cluster office, the provincial duty officers, the provincial commissioner's officers, and myself. It is a rolled up presentation from the station cluster to the provincial joint. If an event happens, all structures are simultaneously informed of the event. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Members, we'll take a 10-minute break and then we'll come to questions. 10-minute break. Thank you very much. a lot of colleagues an opportunity, and of course we can also raise issues from the previous round. So thank you very much. Thanks for the presentation. Maybe a few questions from my side. I think one of the reasons we've also invited the police station and the cluster commander is because in some instance this is reflective of a lot of areas in South Africa, the issues that is there. And my first question is, why did we wait for an incident or protest before we say we're going to address the issues of drug dens, we're going to address the other issues that was mentioned in the presentation? We've got now national, provincial involved. Why did we wait? And that goes back to the issue of back to basics, the 6 elements. Now, one of the elements, I think, Acting Commissioner, in your presentations last year was the issue of an intelligence-driven approach. Now, I see additional tasking to CI, but if the cluster is operating optional, if there's leadership at cluster and provincial level, that should be part of your normal policing practices. You would have picked it up, now you must send additional resources from elsewhere to intervene, and the next few days in Pretoria, West Atteridgeville, it can become problematic. So my question is, from the cluster's perspective as well, if back to basics is implemented effectively, the elements, the intelligence-driven approach, why do we need to wait for the community to erupt before we move in? Because if this, let's say, crime patterns that's been described is reflective of many urban areas, why do we wait? If we know there's drug dens, if we know there's crime syndicates, if we know there's illegal prostitution taking place and other related incidents, if we know there's high flyers, why do we wait? That I can't understand, and I want an explanation on that. Let's go to the other members. Honourable Mhlongo.
No, Chair. I think I've got 2 areas, Chairperson. One, I wonder, Chair, if maybe before I can get into my question, whether then we will have maybe, according to your planning, an arrangement of also touching base with the JMPD there, so that we can have an understanding of the kind of bylaws, because to me, there seems to be a problem also with our bylaws. We can't have a situation whereby then we've got abandoned buildings and bylaws are not kicking in to actually then assist the situation of the law-abiding citizens. But then my question, Chair, it somehow borders on what you have asked.
To undertake a systematic review of human rights compliances. So I think the Human Rights Commission on its own can be able to deal with this matter without having written to by the minister to undertake this kind of a thing and report back both to South African public and this committee as to how do we deal with these matters going forward. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Bongo and Honorable Mutabo, you are right. I was referring to the old commissioner's absence. But you are right that we need to hear where are the other commissioners that were recently appointed. And you are also right to raise sharply the issue of silos and lack of collective action. But the chair has requested to table another matter. Can we agree that when he tables that other matter, we also deal with this matter that we have raised? Okay. Honorable Majake? Oh, no. No, Honorable Majake first, yeah. I noted Honorable Maila, and then I'll take Honorable Majaki first. Honorable Majaki, you raised your hands first,
Yes, thank you, Chairperson.
or I saw you first.
Yeah, I thought you were doubtful about it. Thank you. Just to take the opportunity of welcoming the report, Professor Majola, and to congratulate you on your appointment, including the other commissioners, Commissioner Gom, Commissioner Jana. Welcome. Yes, indeed, it would have been nicer to have all of you here, so that you all have your maiden presentation together. And I want to reiterate what my colleagues have actually indicated, that working together towards fulfillment of the mandate of the South African Human Rights Commission is very important. If you work as a team, it will make you stronger, and we will be in the position to fulfill the mandate together. And to extend condolences to the families of the SCD patients that we have lost. And to say that, indeed, what I would like to reiterate that comes from the chairperson is that let's not make this a political ball game. Something grossly wrong has happened. It then becomes important and incumbent upon us as a country to look into the matter and try and see what can be done to ensure that something of this nature never ever happens again. And of course, with the South African Human Rights Commission, you've indicated how the matter was received, when and how. And I must actually commend the team to say that in a manner in which you are actually carrying this, it shows leadership. It's not something that happened during your tenure. You are brand new in your offices, and you have to deal with something as contemporary. But all the African Human Rights Commission is, where could we have done something that is wrong? You see, finger pointing and blaming is not going to actually help to alleviate the situation. We all must accept responsibility. And what is important is, once you start accepting responsibility, then it allows you to open up for looking at what could have been done that is wrong and how can it be actually corrected. Because that's what we are actually looking at, so that we don't have a situation of this nature really being repeated in future. One thing that is actually also important, stepping outside this, and I'm not going to want to talk about whether you are contradicting the South Gauteng High Court or not. I don't think it's an area that we want to enter into, because remember, this process is being handled by other structures. We have full recommendations of the Health Ombudsman that the Department of Health, jointly with Gauteng government, are actually looking at. So I'm not going to be talking about who is supposed to be taking responsibility and all of that, because we are fully aware of action that is being taken. What is just important is you, as South African Human Rights Commission, looking at how the matter has been handled, as to whether there has been any form of gross violation of human rights, and how do you then make your own intervention without us putting you under pressure to say this is how we think you can do it. And I'm sure, Chairperson, this is not their last presentation on this, because this is an ongoing process. After this meeting, we expect you to go back. You will have heard the comments. You will go and look at your situation in relation to the mandate of the South African Human Rights Commission to see how you can actually make meaningful intervention. And I was actually looking at what deinstitutionalization is all about, and the whole issue of deinstitutionalization. I've just actually Googled it. It says it's something that began in 1955. It's a whole long process. Remember, as human beings, at various points in our lives, we will experience challenges, and mental
Well, Chair, just maybe two questions. What I'm not hearing, General, is the issue about building of relationship or building of partnership with communities in a big way. For an example, there's a statement made that when you want to get a witness statement, you can't get the witness statement. So obviously, if you don't get a witness statement, other words from communities, then you are basically on your own. It suggests that there must be concerted effort of addressing that issue of partnership with communities. And I hear the issue about the CPF that you've been running workshop, but I think at upscaling of that partnership, because the whole thing about trust and people wanting to come forward with a statement, if they are not trusting the system yet, they will not come forward in the statement. So that's the major issue that you'll have to address. The second thing that well, I'm not familiar with this community. I haven't been there. I would like to be and see. There is a statement that people are gone. The journal says people are gone. Now I don't know where they are gone to. The houses are empty, the grass is cut, is clean, but the people are gone. Maybe if you can just explain this gone. I don't know where they are gone to as a result of what. Maybe that will help me to understand the situation, because you kept saying that but there are no people. People are gone. Those are two clarity for me that I need to get. But otherwise, I think in terms of when you look at the objectives of the plan and what the plan seeks to achieve, I think it's going in the right direction.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Markey, thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Just two questions. Maybe I need to say that I've got a friend there at Rosettenville who has been shot 3 times around the same place. And the 3rd time they woke him up, took his car with him in there, and maybe just to mention that. The first question would be, if I heard very correctly, 7 houses have been burned and the owners haven't even reported to the police. The police can't find them. I wonder what that means. Your house is burnt and you were not killed and nobody can account for you. 7 houses. They haven't come forward as yet. I don't know what that means. Yeah. If that could be. So the police don't know whose houses they are, where are those people, and so on. It tends to tell us something. And the hijacking of houses, in practical terms, what does that mean? Does it mean somebody come into your house and say you must go, and you have got to go? That's my understanding. Or they say people simply come and take your house. How does that happen? I mean, is that what we mean, hijacking? Or hijacking, is it open houses that are there and people move in? That brings me to what Honorable Ramatlakane was saying. A house is clean and the gates are locked and there's nobody in there. It's gone. That's what Honorable Ramatlakane was saying. And
what happens, I mean, that happens even in Berea or areas like those, that the whole flat is bought or hijacked and is locked. Nobody gets in there. What does the law say about that? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. I've been listening to the report given this one. Now, I would like to know, it's okay, I accept this, but then I just want to know if the police has engaged in dialogue with relevant stakeholders, and who are they, and what was the outcome of that. And again, on the box, I saw Rosettenville communities complaining that the police involvement with drug dealers, and what investigation has been done into those allegations so far, so that at least we know, because it's worrisome. And I will urge SAPS not to do spade work at Rosettenville only. Sometimes I see the reports that police were raiding Kaile. But then let it spread in the whole provinces, because Limpopo Hange, I have never seen raidings happening, and that is deep rural. Most of the police stations, they are in deep rural, and things are happening there, and that's the entry point of the foreigners from that side, and raids like what types of rapes that needs to be there. They need to bring improvement, because Shangol Kochinyala Ngahange wants to concentrate on locations, suburbs, and so on. Limpopo Mapungwa Kochinyala, please consider Limpopo. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Mula.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you for your presentations. I've got 3 questions. One of the issues raised by the community of Rosettenville was the issue of child prostitution and the impact of drug culture amongst young people. What intervention has been implemented to save children from such a situation? My second question, what are the possible implications of what is happening in Rosettenville, and how can this be mitigated? My last question, what educational program do you have in place to educate the community about the dangers of drugs? Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Just 2 further ones from my side. I just want to know, because we saw Rosettenville, then there was a move to Pretoria West. We heard the reports this morning on the media. Friday, what's coming? I just want to know in terms of contingency planning. Not that we're going to the 2007, but I just want to know from a back to basics perspective, is the police ready to deal with it from an intelligence point of view? The paint blue principle, is that going to be used? Because I saw reports on Pretoria West where people said, well, the police just stood by while people were attacking or, robbing houses and so on. So is there going to be the necessary, planning? I saw Nigeria has raised the matter with the African Union of the citizens in South Africa. So it's a serious issue. So I think the committee needs assurance that what might happen in the next few days. SAPS is ready to deal with it, and you've got the necessary contingency planning ready in Gauteng. We need that information. Then I just want to know from the station commander and the cluster commander whether the head of management intervention in Gauteng at national level, it's not General Cruiser, it's one of his deputies, have visited that station before the unrest. I just want to get an indication. Before the community protest erupted, in the preceding period, was there any visit from the Lieutenant General that is allocated to Gauteng, to that precinct? Thank you. General Phahlane.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. I think Honorable Mhlongo raised a very important issue earlier with the audio which is circulating of a person who is kind of saying South Africans must be attacked wherever they are because of the xenophobic attacks. And I listened to that. He was giving some statistics over the years, the number of people attacked and so on, which we must all, Honorable Chair, discourage. We cannot have an audio circulating, inciting people in a manner that that person does. And I found it interesting because that which is said in that audio is not so far different from what one of the people said in Pretoria after the Saturday situation. We are hard at work trying to trace that particular person who is responsible for that recording. I'm mentioning that, Chair, to answer your question of our readiness. We, under normal circumstances, will be saying we are ready, that we will deploy our people. Our concentration was in those areas which intelligence would have suggested that something is imminent. Mamelodi is one which has been brewing over the past few weeks. We know that there was a march which is planned for Friday. So those where we had something tangible suggesting that something is being planned, the necessary plans are there to be able to deal with the situation. Now, I'm mentioning the audio to say you can expect a surprise element because nowhere did we think of this thing being at that scale. Now, how many people receive that audio and how many people are going to react based on that particular audio? Chair, our plans are in place. In addition to what the provincial team has reported following the incident, honourable members would have noted that some of the ministers, in particular the Minister of Home Affairs, Minister Gigaba, visited the area. There was last week a JCPS cluster meeting of the ministers who have, amongst others, given directives that resulted in us activating the net joints to conduct operations from a multidisciplinary perspective. Those operations were done and they continue to be conducted in those areas which are a little bit problematic. So I don't want to say to say here that all is well, because there are some unplanned things that get operationalized by the people without an alert. A typical example is Pretoria. I live in Pretoria. I did not get a sense that we are going to be having some things that happened. It actually started in Atteridgeville. Few people started getting together, and the next moment it had spilled over to Pretoria. But our deployments, our people will continue to be mobilized to be able to action the plans, Honorable Chair. The Gauteng-based issues, I'm going to ask the colleagues to talk to. But I will want maybe just to say one thing in response to what Honorable Mbele has said. And it is painful to know that we are not being valued for the work that we are doing. It's as if everything that the police are doing is wrong. Everything is academic. The people that we're talking earlier is a cluster commander who's much more closer to the situation. So if we at this level are maybe theoretical or academic, you can't get a much more practical person than a cluster commander and a station commander, because they are dealing with the issues of the day at that particular level. And Honorable Chair, the situation in Rosettenville, it's an unfortunate situation that happened. I was just looking at the work that they are doing. There is one individual, for example, let me not name them, who has been arrested 7 times by the police. The person has been on bail. What is it that the police must do? If information comes their way, they will do their work, they will go and arrest the person and take him to the courts. Now, it can't be that we illegally keep those people in custody if they are either granted bail or they have got a fine. But when it is reported to us, Honorable Chair, we are not going to say we are not going to take action against this particular person. Another person here, 11 cases, which means more than once this person has committed the very same. The second objective of the plan which was presented was looking at the repeat offenders. We do that because we know that they are the people who continue to be committing crimes. We need to do something about them. There is 2 individuals here with 5 cases. It is not, because these are dealing cases. It doesn't mean on the same day you find drugs in room 1, in room 2, room 3, and then it's 3 cases. It means on more than one instance, we will have done some work there, and we will have arrested the person, we will have taken that person to court. Chair, I think at some point, it becomes too harsh on us as the police. And as said earlier, the problems that we are experiencing there are not solely policing issues. Honorable Ramatlakane raised a question about the hijackings of the buildings, or the issue of the owners that do not even come forward. Those people, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, would have rented their houses out to someone who is busy with illegal transactions there. Now, it is not that one who is busy with an illegal transaction who is coming to report and say, it is my place, because he or she knows that the police are following on him because of the drug dealing allegation which is being pursued. So the owners, the official owner, literally is not presenting him or herself to the police. Some of these buildings, Honorable Chair, it houses that they were abandoned for one or other reason, and someone comes and takes occupation of that house, and they continue with their illegal transactions. Again, it's not solely a policing issue. There is a metro there. There is some people who are managing that metro who must ordinarily come to the fore in terms of playing their part in that regard. But unfortunately, you end up with this situation where the finger gets pointed at the police. We accept it's our responsibility to ensure that our people are safe. It's our responsibility to maintain order in our communities. But at some point, I think when we say these hating things about the police, let's just somewhere consider that these are human beings. Not all of them are corrupt. Not all of them are useless. The majority of them are there to do work, and they must be given credit for the little that they are doing in those communities. These people that were arrested, Honorable Chair, did not walk themselves to the police station and hand themselves over. They did not walk themselves to a court. The police have taken them there. I just feel that it is too harsh towards the police, and always to be told that we are theoretical. Then let us be educated here if that is the case. Honorable Chair, the hotline issue, I know that it was directed to the station commander, but that's one area that we must commend the provincial commissioner and a team to have established and continue to communicate the hotline, which is sitting directly in the provincial commissioner's office, so that we are responding to all those issues that are not taken care of, whether at the 1011 center or at the police station level. So the hotline is there, it is operational, and just this morning before the session, I was following an interview of the provincial spokesperson communicating the details of that hotline, because there was a debate around there. The issue, Honorable Ramatlakane, of building relationship, I think it's very important. As we have acknowledged before, that we will not win the fight against crime on our own. But what was worrying for me in the Rosettenville situation, the first report that I got from the provincial commissioner was that some members of the CPF, together with the local community, are going to houses and they are busy burning the houses. It's a worry. I have, apart from what I was hearing from her, I was following the news, and the leader there who was addressing the community said, we have sent the CPF person to that particular house, to go and say to people, move out. It's a worrying issue. We do not expect that role to be played by our community policing forums. On the contrary, they are supposed to be working with us in calming the communities down. And for example, if there is a gap from the police side, let it be made visible, let it be escalated so that we can deal with that particular issue. But despite all that, we must continue to work with our communities to try and address the issue. I think I've dealt with the hijacking issue that was raised. The raids, Honorable Mabija, I've taken note of the need in Limpopo. Somewhere, I think, when we talk to the festive season program, it will also talk to some of those raids that were mandatory to the provinces for them to conduct, including the stops and searches and so on. But there will always be room for improvement, particularly in those troublesome areas. And I know, Honorable Mavija, you'll be very grateful to know that Limpopo is doing exceptionally very well. When we presented here the last time, whether it was crime stats and so on, Limpopo was there at number 9. I don't want to say it loudly. I know General Dilange has got problems because Limpopo is moving past them like they are standing still in the work that they are doing together with the Northern Cape. I think we may have found the right formula in as far as Limpopo is concerned, and we are very grateful with the work that General Ledova does in that particular area. Honorable Chair, I know you asked the question about whether the Lieutenant General responsible for management intervention has been there, but I will know that in that they would have been there. I think the the Major General who sits in there, but it would have been one of the stations that is on the list of management intervention nationally to get there, and not just because we had this problem. It may be necessary that even General Cruiser designate a specific team to look, because here we are communicating a plan. Someone must monitor and make sure that that plan becomes very effective. General Cruiser had convened or taken the team, the provincial commissioner and the management team to the Eastern Cape, the northern, what is it, the northern areas, Mount Road. Remember, we had the drug problem there, Honorable Chair, and I think some of the excellent work that was done in that area is worth transporting to the other areas. So the management team of Gauteng has been there to be exposed to what is it that was done in that particular area. We will continue to paint our streets blue. We fortunately have acquired more vehicles. We are in that process of making sure that they are being marked. Honorable Chair and members will recall that December 15th, we have graduated 5,000 new constables. They are deployed, and I see the provinces are doing us proud by not having abandoned the festive season plan in terms of the mode of deployment. In some areas, you still go to the malls, you find the police there. They still conduct those operations that we have dictated then. Let me, Chair, without further ado, maybe just leave an opportunity for General Dilange or the cluster commander or the station commander to respond to what I did not deal with.
Thank you, General Dilange.
Chair, thank you very much. I think my National Commissioner have answered almost everything. Let me just add on the issue of the hotline that we have established on my office. Immediately after we attended a meeting of the community together with my MEC and the minister, I decided that, because the community, most of the complaints were they have lost trust to the local police. They were saying they are reporting all these cases, but the local police are not reacting. So I initiated a hotline whereby I said to the community, talk directly to me so that I can monitor all these complaints. Out of the 280 complaints that I received from the hotline, only 4 of them are where the community were complaining about the police, that they are seeing the police vehicle in certain areas. And because I educated them to say, each and every police vehicle have got a call sign. Take the call sign of the vehicle, take the registration number of the vehicle, take the photo of the police that you are seeing in a certain area. We investigated all those cases only to find that those are the police that we have sent to those areas. Some of them were doing undercover operations, but I gave feedback back to them. But the 280 complaints that I received, that's when the community were giving me addresses of the trucks, and we were very much successful. Immediately, we went back to those addresses, and we arrested prostitutes. We arrested the drug lords. Thank you very much, sir. I don't know whether I've left anything. Thank you, Chair.
Station Commander, Cluster Commander, anything else?
Chairperson, no, everything is covered. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll give another round because this is a very important, I think, exercise, because a lot of, as I said, a lot of the urban areas is characterized by some of the issues. Yes, General, you wanted to respond.
Sorry, Chair. Honorable Muller asked a question about interventions to save the children as well as educational programs. We have, within the visible policing environment, established crime crime awareness directorate, and honorable members will recall that there is also one priority that we are pursuing from the school's perspective, to play a part there in the schools in educating and creating awareness around crime-related issues. We also have dictated to the provincial commissioners the the outreach programs, community engagement programs that they are to be doing. In a situation we find ourselves in as far as Rosettenville is concerned, while the tensions are high, you can't come in now with a crime awareness or educational program. First, you reach the point of stability, and then you then come in with all those programs. Interventions are underway. For example, where young children are being used as sex workers and so on. We at times are caught in the middle. You'll recall one of the issues that health authorities were not happy with the police on is the confiscation of condoms when you get to such places. To say, but we need to be leaving them there. But for us, it was a different issue that we are trying to address. But we subscribe to the strategy when it comes to HIV/AIDS prevention and so on. But from an investigation perspective, from a prevention perspective, there are some interventions that are ongoing in those areas. Thanks, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, members. We're going to a second round. Honorable Mula.
Thank you, Chairperson. I've got one question. Today is the 21st of February. In the community demands, they said they expect a written response from SAPS within 7 days, of which is the 11th of February 2017. I want to know, did you send them that written response that they need? Thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable Mula, other members? Honorable Mbele.
Thanks, Chair. I just wanted to check that my question around interventions to tackle allegations of police corruption had been fully answered in terms of the inputs that could come from the station and cluster management, because what I heard coming from General Delanga in particular was that there's a reporting hotline which is to get the reports from the community or the complaints from the community, and then there's undercover operations, which I assume means that's where they try to catch corrupt cops in the act. Is that it? Is there anything more to add? Yeah.
Thank you, Honorable Ramatlakane.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Just one question from the previous session. The Provincial Commissioner of Gauteng, in response to the question about relationship and feedback, response was that I only presented a report to Gauteng Cabinet once, and there was a year in it that was mentioned. That was 2015-16. And ever since that, there's never been any kind of a presentation of a report to Cabinet. And also further said, I do meet with the MEC every Tuesday, 7 o'clock. The question that I have on that is, Surely if there is every Tuesday's meeting, that feedback of crime and how Gauteng is progressing, positive progress made, should be reported to the MEC in those discussions, because those discussions should be centering around that. And that should be the information that is carried over, that will find its way into SOPA, into State of the Province address, in terms of the crime situation. Perhaps there is a something that, and you did also say that you do send emails or a report. You said you send report. I don't know the format, but let me not give you the name. You do send a report to the MEC. Perhaps there is a requirement, there is a discussion that is required, because if that information has been able to filter through, surely the Premier would have had that kind of information into the State of the Province address. But as we sit here, it looks like there hasn't been that kind of information. I just want to get your comment on that. But the last question on the current agenda item. Commissioner, in terms of the various acts that we have in the country, if you have built up a case about the activities of a house number A, that crime is committed, drugs are peddling in this house, and you build sufficient information about it, the law does give you the power to attach, to basically say this house now, state is doing X. I'm not hearing that coming out of this discussion. I'm not hearing that sufficient data has been built to be able to deal with the poker legislation around this issue, because obviously even the owner of the house, if they have rented out their house for activities of this nature, surely they will accept the implications and the consequences of a tenant who does something about that particular house. So why are we not attaching? Why are we not doing something about it, which is the law provider to do it? Or maybe it's too early. You are in the process of building that particular case. I'm sure the intelligence and the operative by now should have built a dossier of activities. Has that happened? Are we in the process of doing that, General? That's the question that I want to know. I just want to know action in relation to the law. Thank you.
Thank you, members. Maybe just to latch on, it's about CI and again capabilities at cluster level. I just want to get an indication whether there is sufficient levels of informants and well capacity. I saw the additional projects that's been registered, but can we just get the indication, Gauteng, from a CI perspective? Are we out of the emergency room or the ICU? Where are we? That we can just get a sense, because that's a big issue. If it's not intelligence-driven operations, we're going to touch into the dark. So that's a critical factor. Honourable Mhlongo, you're the last one.
No, it's only one, Chair. What I wanted to find out, Chair, is because I think the acting commissioner came to my rescue insofar as transplanting the pilot project of the Eastern Cape to the area concerned. But what I wanted to find out is, you know, Chair, I think if I am not mistaken, it was brought to our attention that in terms of the Tetra operations, on the side of Eastern Cape as well as Gauteng. Gauteng was almost near completion. You know why I'm raising this, Chairperson, is because, you know, I appreciate what the good work the Provincial Commissioner of Gauteng is doing. But in terms of ensuring management of the reporting and reaction by police in terms of response to the calls by community, which I think we were briefed thoroughly that the TETRA system gives or enhances proper management of the system itself, isn't it applicable in that particular area, so that maybe from the side of police, as the provincial commissioner is also acceding to the fact that there seems to be some kind of corrupt elements within the police who collude with these. But then, if and only if the system itself is well monitored from the side of TETRA, then when people call, and also the reaction time, and how often, my question will be, how often do the police analyze the information that has gone through that system, if and only if TETRA is actually then covering that particular area? Thanks.
That's an excellent question. That's a very good question, because you have now additional dial-up at the PC's office, but you've got the multi-million rand TETRA system in place. Yeah. Right, that is the questions, members, on this issue. General Phahlane and your team, thank you.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. Maybe starting with the last question by Honorable Mhlongo, we can confirm that the TETRA is fully operational both in the Eastern Cape as well as in Gauteng. And the upgrade of the Gauteng TETRA has also been realized. So that's one area we can safely say that we are where we want to be. If there is a continuous need of further work, that will be carried through our programs. Honorable Chair, on the question of CI, I know that our expectations are on different levels. If you talk to those who are in the environment, they will say they are doing exceptionally very well. If you talk to a client like me, I'll say we are not. I still want more out of that environment. And it is for that reason that we have now taken our focus into that area and begin to look at the kinds of products that we are getting, whether those products allow that proactiveness, or are they pushing us to be reactive? So there is a serious interrogation which we are doing. I know the provincial commissioner will want to say she is happy or unhappy. I will not dictate to her to say which one, but from where I'm sitting, I think we can do better with the CI capability, considering what our investments are in that area. If you just look at what you pay for, informers and so on, it's huge amounts. Now, what we are beginning to interrogate is the return on investment. It's work which is underway, and we will get there. Maybe let the provincial commissioner, Chair, if she may respond to one or two issues that have been raised. Or maybe before she goes there, the issue of Honorable Mbele, I think it's covered when you spoke about corruption. To say that we have got the undercover operations and so on, we are not at liberty to make those details available at this stage because of the nature that of work which is being done to try and track those people that are responsible for unlawfulness in that area. It is in that context that earlier we spoke about having re-established anti-corruption capacity, so that those individuals that are pointed at to be on the wrong side of the law, they could be followed up to avoid this situation of every time fingers being pointed at the police for wrongdoing, which is wrongdoing of some individuals. We also, Chair, we have now the new discipline regulations. They have been, we have revised what we had, council has approved, which provides for expedited processing or finalization of cases, which I think will help us not to keep people too long in the system who are on the wrong side of the law. Chair, I may allow the provincial commissioner.
General Phahlane, General Lange.
Thank you very much, Chair. I would like to respond on the question about the feedback to the MEC. Chair, before the SONA, MEC requested me to submit a report on the crime statistic for the past festive season. And she even further requested me to submit all the good successes that I have shared with her. I did submit a report about the crime statistic from the 1st of September up until December. It was submitted to her office because she said she was preparing a report for SONA. So I was shocked also when the Premier didn't mention anything about the report of the crime and also the successes that was achieved by the police. Thank you, Chair. On the issue of the memorandum that was supposed to be responded to within 7 days, I would like to give to the station commander to respond to that.
Honorable Chair, thank you very much for the opportunity. The memorandum that was received has been responded to. The agreement that I reached with the leader of that community that brought the memorandum was that I will call him, he will come and pick it up. I did give him a call, he hasn't yet come to pick it up. The day I expected him to come to pick it up, it was last week on Friday, or on Thursday or Friday. Between those 2 days he was supposed to come, but he hasn't come to pick it up, but it is ready, it has been done.
The Honorable Chairperson, I also want to confirm that because the phone number that was given there, I also phoned the person. I know I had an interaction with him regarding the feedback because I wasn't satisfied with him not coming for the feedback. I wanted to lead a delegation of members to him because some of his demands, if you see what it was, and on the conversation with him on the phone, he also demanded that we must take away the houses and give it to other people, which was not our job. I also want to confirm that the CI, as a National Commissioner, says that it's a work in progress, and it is a work in progress for the third semester. Already 52 people is already being investigated. And then one more point on the crime prevention, visible policing directive for last financial year until February 16, 32 schools were visited where we had projects with school children regarding social crime prevention awareness campaigns. And all this was done with the educators of the school, with the NGOs like eNCA, together with the social crime prevention coordinators. So I just want to give my confirmation of CI. Yes, maybe we are not doing enough. We have done already 52 addresses. We have taken down drug dealers, and most of those arrests on the 360 are part of crime intelligence reports. Thank you, Chairperson.
There's just a follow-up from Honourable Mamula and then Honourable Ramadlakane. And then we'll give the National Commission opportunity. Yes.
Thank you, Chairperson. Can we ask the Provincial Commissioner to submit the minutes of the meeting with the MEC? Because now we've got different stories. We want to know that are they sitting or not? Thank you, Chairperson.
Ramatlakane, and if there's any other members, because I want to close this section because we really need to move on to the next one.
No, Honorable Chair, I wanted just to remind National Commissioner about my second question.
Members, that's the questions? Yes. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Chair. That's why I was raising the hand, the one relating to the forfeiture of the assets. Honorable Chair, it was taken care of in the presentation where a reference is made to the implementation of chapters 5 and 6 of POCA, seizure of criminal assets. That work is being activated. Thanks, Chair.
Right, thank you, members. We come to the end of this part of the interaction with Moffat View Police Station. Thank you for the cluster commander and the station commander for attending, and also the provincial commissioner. We take note of the input. Of course, we will have to maybe visit that station maybe informally in the next few weeks. But I think what is quite important is, again, the trust between the community and the station. That's the responsibility of the station commander, and the cluster commander must ensure that it happens. And we can't have a situation where something erupts and now suddenly we go after the drug dens and all the illegal activities in the police precinct. That must happen on a daily basis, and that's why the provincial commissioner must monitor police stations, and of course management intervention should keep a close eye. Because that's the danger. If there is concerns from the community, if there's complaints, it must be followed up. If there's corrupt police, they must be investigated, they must be removed. So thank you for that. Members, we've got not a lot of time left, about 40 minutes if you want to finish at 1:45. So I'm going to ask the operational safer festive season. Let's have that. I think we need more time for the crime stats, more time, because I also want the researchers to give their perspective. So we'll slot it in the next 3 weeks, sometime, that we can have a proper discussion. Because I think the issue of the report by Stats SA raise other dynamics, and we'll have to discuss that also more in detail. And also, I also want the researchers to address us on that. So let's have the Operation Festival season, because we also close now to Easter in the next month or two. So let's have that presentation now, and then we'll deal with the other issues at a later date. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, thanks very much. It's actually a blessing in disguise that we are not presenting the crime statistics because tomorrow we are before the JCPS Cabinet Committee to present the third quarter. So what we will have presented today, which has served before Cabinet, are the first 2 quarters. In other words, up to what is it? Yeah, the first 2 quarters. But when we do the presentation, the next one, we will have already received approval for the period up to the end of December. So it's good for us and good for the country. Chair, may I allow General Rabi to run through the presentation?
Honourable Chair and members of the committee, good afternoon. Given the time constraints that are applicable to this, I will run through this presentation as quick and painless as possible to just highlight the critical issues and not go into the detail as far as every slide is concerned. Basically, what we're going to present is, first of all, the approach that we followed, the specific successes achieved, and then a quick overview of crime that will also touch on the impact that we had over the last 3 quarters of the current financial year, and then end with a conclusion. As far as the operational methodology is concerned, not going into all the detail, what was important to implement is an approach that goes beyond the normal call of duty, and that we had to ensure that there's stability in the country over the festive season. And we also had to take due consideration of specific service delivery protests, fees must fall, and other campaigns that were applicable at the time. We used an interdepartmental approach that was coordinated by the National Joint Intelligence Operational Structures, and the duration of the festive season operation is started in October 2016 and ended in January 2017. There were several factors that we as the South African Police Service had to take into consideration during and what will impact on the festive season operations. It's specifically your shopping and entertainment that takes place over this season. The increased movement of large sums of money, the cash demand that is driving sales over this specific season, the influx of visitors and tourists to specific areas within the country, the increased traffic volumes on our national routes, migrant workers across borders, the women, children, and other vulnerable groups that are targeted over this period, and then current campaigns that were applicable at the time of the specific operations. The operational approach consisted basically of 6 pillars, and in the first pillar we focused on aggravated robberies. The second pillar talked to the border security, management of border security. Pillar 3 talked to the firearm control, second-hand goods, and safety safety at sports and recreational events. Pillar 4, we talked to the crime against women and children and persons with disabilities. Pillar 5, your bylaw enforcement. And Pillar 6, your road safety management or enforcement. Now, the operational characteristics associated with the approach that we followed, overall, the approach was to ensure high visibility in targeted areas, but it was also important that this deployment should be informed by the relevant crime and intelligence assessments. The types of deployments that we used over the season included your normal roadblocks, vehicle control points, patrol, stop and search operations, as well as specialized operation with the necessary support from public order policing and the special task force. Targeted deployment was also done taking into consideration all the force multipliers that we have available to ensure that we have optimal deployment. During this period, we also used our newly trained constables that were deployed under supervision in a coordinated manner. We also focused on specific hotspots, and it is important to note that the deployment varied from province to province based on the specific crime threat and intelligence analysis associated with the respective provinces. Focused also on the tracing of wanted persons, once again intelligence-driven operations. We also had the deployment of our senior managers in the respective provinces to oversee these operations. The senior managers that were deployed included the acting national commissioner, the deputy national commissioners, divisional commissioners and provincial commissioners, and we also had a deployment of personnel that were working at or currently working at head office. What is important to note is that we granted the majority of the public order policing personnel leave over the festive season for the purpose of making sure that they recover and be ready for the anticipated process that may take place in January with specific reference to the Feast Must Fall campaign. Now, as far as the deployment of new constables are concerned, you will note that we deployed a total of 4,953. The bulk of them were deployed in Gauteng, 1,519, followed by the Western Cape, 1,065, and KZN with 753. The operational activities over this festive season, it's quite a notable number. In total, we had a total of 705,639 activities or police actions over the festive season. And you will note it's indicated in the respective province, and it's broken down into the roadblocks, so vehicle control points, patrols, and stop and search operations. Just to highlight the 2 provinces, you will note in KZN and Western Cape, where we had the highest number of patrols, the blue bar in KZN and the yellow bar, the stop and search operations in the Western Cape, just to highlight some of the activities. And it is important to note that as we continue with these, with the presentation, was the impact of these activities in these respective provinces. Police searches. In total, the police searches conducted amounted to 2.4 million, and it's broken down into persons, vehicles, and premises. And you will note that the highest number of searches conducted was in Mpumalanga, KZN, followed by Western Cape and Limpopo, with the specific focus on persons. In Mpumalanga, a total of 402,000, KZN 240,000, Western Cape 255,000. Vehicles, just to note, in Mpumalanga, 145,000, 107,000 in KZN. And the premises, the highest number we have is in KZN, a total of 7,184. As far as the total operational activities are concerned, just to give you a breakdown in terms of the respective provinces, as I indicated, a total of 705,000 police actions and searches 2.4 million. The highest is in KZN in terms of police actions, 251,000, followed by 355,000 searches, followed by Western Cape, 198,000 police actions, 342,000 searches. Limpopo, 51,000 police activities, searches 333,000. Free State, 50,000 police activities, searches 200,000. Eastern Cape, 39,000 police actions, 188,000 searches conducted. Gauteng, 37,000 police actions, 266,000 searches conducted. Free State, 50,000 police activities and searches 200,000. And then Mpumalanga with 30,000 police actions and 550,000 searches that has been conducted. And then lastly we have the Northwest Province with 11,000 police actions and 96,000 searches conducted. So in terms of the successes achieved over the festive season, first of all, if we look at the total number of arrests that were made, the total is 83,479, of which the highest was recorded in the Western Cape, a total of 19,625, followed by KZN with 16,760 and Gauteng Province with 10,412. The arrests per crime category, this is just the same figure broken down into the different types of arrest. What we do here, Chairperson, we focus on police action, arrests as a result of police action, property-related crimes, contact-related crimes and contact crimes, as well as other serious crime. Now, as I indicated in the previous slide, the highest number of arrests was in the Western Cape, followed by KZN and Gauteng. If you look at the bar for the Western Cape, you will know that the dominant color there is blue, and that refers to police action. So they had the highest number of arrests as a result of police action. That relates to drug-related crime, illegal possession of firearm, etc. In KZN, you will note that the larger portion of the bar is red, so that refers to contact crime. So they've made the highest number of contact crime arrests in the country, just to highlight those two categories. We also highlight the activities of the FCS units over this specific period. The total number of arrests made by FCS is 1,338, of which 414 were made in Gauteng, Western Cape 244, KZN 204. Vehicle seizures. We look at two types of vehicles, or two categories. Number one is the red portion of the bar is vehicles that were involved in the commission of a crime. And the blue one refers to vehicles that were reported as either stolen or robbed. And you will note the highest number of seizures were made in KZN, a total of 38 vehicles in the commission of crime and 203 stolen vehicles, followed by the Eastern Cape with 23 and 105 in the two categories, and Gauteng 8 and 78 stolen and robbed vehicles. So in total, we recovered over this period 669 vehicles were in those two categories. Firearms, recovery of firearms. What we do is we look at a couple of categories: homemade firearms, auto, semi-automatic firearms, shotguns, rifles, and handguns. In total, the firearms seized amounted to 1,060, and you will note that the highest number of seizures were made in KZN, followed by the Eastern Cape in Gauteng. In the majority of in all provinces, you will note that the blue color is the dominant one, and that refers to handguns that has been seized in the respective provinces. And in total, KZN it's 302, followed by the Eastern Cape with 160 and Gauteng with 102. Ammunition, there's also the highest number of seizures made is in the KZN with 2,699, Western Cape 1,755 and Eastern Cape 1,081. The total that we seized over the festive season amounts to 8,691. Explosives, there are two categories. It's hand grenades and commercial explosives. KZN, we have the highest now. The seizure, there were 6 commercial explosive units seized. In Gauteng, 4 commercial explosive units. Limpopo, 1 hand grenade and 1 unit of commercial explosives. In total, that was 14 as far as the total country is concerned. When we look at the controlled metal seizures over this period, in total, if you look at the total at the top there, it was 1,962 kilograms of metal that we seized. Basically, it refers to copper cable, copper in other formats, and then your aluminium. And the highest number of, or the highest weight of seizures that we have is in Mpumalanga, followed by KZN and Limpopo. So in total, 1.9 tons of controlled metal seizures. Livestock, a total of 608. The highest number is in KZN. We look at other livestock, sheep and goat and cattle. In KZN, 178 sheep and 218 cattle, followed by Free State, 90 sheep or goats, and then in total 12 cattle. And then the last, or the third one, is then sheep, goats, 53 in the Eastern Cape. So here we also have KZN as the leading province as far as that is concerned. Illicit drug seizures, grams. Chair, with your permission, I would not like to go into the detail. Yeah. There's a lot of detail in the drugs there. I think what we need to note there is the provinces where we have the highest number. Correct, just the previous slide, Mpumalanga, Western Cape and KZN. The next slide is Mandrax. We had quite a notable seizure in the Western Cape, a total of 538,000 Mandrax tablets over that specific period. Next one. The notable successes that we recorded over the season, on 15 December, a drug laboratory has been closed. To the total value associated with that was 2.8 million, and that was in Gauteng. In Limpopo, stolen goods and drugs seized during operations to the total value of 5 million. In Mpumalanga, on 14 December, illicit drug and cash seizures to their value of 137,000 and 118,000 respectively. KwaZulu-Natal, on the 1st December, 2 cop killers were arrested and firearms recovered. And the 12th of December, disruption of an ATM attack, 8 suspects that were fatally wounded during that operation. In the Eastern Cape, on the 27th of December, we had stabilized the St. Albans prison unrest. In the Free State, on the 5th of December, during December, 5 murder and business robbery suspects apprehended and firearm recovered. In the Western Cape, on the 18th of November, a drug dealer arrested. That refers to 1 incident with a total of 31,000 Mandrax tablets to the value of 900,000. And then 17 October, in the Northern Cape, cannabis seized to the value of 250,000. And also in the same province, on the 19th of December, armed robbers apprehended and 450,000 rand was recovered in that operation. As far as the crime is concerned, next slide. There's an overall reduction in the levels of community-reported crimes during the festive season. If we look at contact crime, there was, if we compare the festive season, that covers the last quarter of the calendar year compared to the same period in the previous, in 2015. Contact crime was reduced with 5.3%. Contact-related crime was reduced with 5.4%. Property-related crime was reduced with 2.2%. And other serious crime reduced by 5.3%. And then also important, as far as the crimes dependent on police action is concerned, with specific emphasis on drugs, it increased with 8.4% over that period. Chair, I'm not going to go through the detail. I think by now you know what the different categories are. This is very important because this slide indicates, if you look at the blue bars represents a comparative analysis looking at the 3 quarters of the current financial year versus the 3 quarters of the previous financial year. If we look at the blue bar, that was the first quarter. So overall in the first quarter, compared to the same period in the previous financial year, there was an increase in crime in all 4 categories. 2.2% contact crime, 2% contact-related crime, property crime went up with 1.8%, and other serious crime went up with 0.6%. Fortunately, we were in a position to turn the situation around. So in the second quarter, the grey bars, compared with the second quarter in 2015-16, contact crimes showed a decrease of 1.7%, contact-related crime 3.7% down, property-related crime 0.2% down, and other serious crime down with 2.3%. The success rate, as far as that is concerned, increased further in the third quarter compared to the third quarter of the previous financial year. In the third quarter, as I indicated, contact crime went down with 5.3%, contact related with 5.4%, property related with 2.2% and 5.3% reduction in other serious crimes. If we go into the detail of the respective crimes, if we just compare quarter 3 in the last 3 years, you will note that from 2014-15 there was an increase in quarter 3 going to 2015-16, but in the 2016-17 financial year we see a decrease of 5.3%. In all 3 months, if we compare the months October, November and December with the same months in 2015, in all 3 months there's a notable decrease, 2.8% in October, November 4.8%, and a large increase, a decrease of 7.8% in December. All the provinces, I'm not going to go into the detail, I believe this is available to everyone. All the provinces recorded a decrease as far as contact crimes are concerned in the third quarter of the current financial year. Moving to contact-related crime, there was an increase from 2014-15 going to 2015-16 of 1.5%. That situation has been turned around to a 5.4% decrease in the third quarter of 2016-17. As far as the 3 months are concerned, October, November, December, in all 3 months there was a decrease in reported crime, with the highest 7.6% in November and December a decrease of 7.5% compared to December the previous financial year. 7 of the 9 provinces recorded a decrease in reported crime, with the highest with 17% in the Free State, Limpopo 13%, and also notable Gauteng with 8% decrease. However, 2 provinces, namely the Western Cape, we see an increase of 1.4% and the Eastern Cape a 3.5% increase. Property-related crime, there was a decrease in the past 3 years. In the last financial year, we recorded a decrease of 2.2% if we compare the third quarters of the respective financial years. We look at the details, all 3 months, October, November and December, we see a decrease in reported crime, with December the highest number recorded is 4.3%. In property crime, however, it's notable that in 3 of the 9 provinces we see an increase in reported crime. If we look at the good story first, Western Cape we see a decrease of 7%, Limpopo 6% down, KZN with 5% down. However, in Gauteng there's a 1.9% increase, Eastern Cape 3% and Northwest 3.7%. Other serious crime, we also note a decrease in quarter 3s of all the last 3 financial years, with a 5.3% decrease in the last financial year. The monthly comparisons, October, November, December, there's a 6%, 3.6% and in December a 6.3% decrease in the reported crime. If we look at the provincial breakdown as far as other serious crime is concerned in the third quarter, it's noted that all 9 provinces recorded a decrease, with the leading province Northwest with 11% decrease, Free State 8% down, Gauteng is 6.9% down, Western Cape 5.1% down. Crimes detected as a result of police action, with specific focus on drug-related crime. There was a decrease, honourable members and chair of the committee, here we would like to see an increase in the reported crime. So in going from 2014-15 to 15-16 there was a decrease of 0.4%. We turned that situation around to an 8.4% increase in the 2016-17 financial year. So in all 3 months, October, November and December, there was a 9.7%, a 5.8% and a 9.6% increase in the number of crimes detected as a result of police action. All the provinces except Gauteng reported or recorded an increase, Limpopo with the highest with 22%, Free State 22%, Mpumalanga 16%. The only province where we see a decrease over this period is Gauteng, where there was a 0.3% decrease in crimes as a result of police action. In conclusion, Honourable Chair, the closing remarks, we can attribute the success that we see as far as the crime is concerned to the high visibility, the targeted deployment of personnel and also very focused operations. All the operations that were initiated during this period was intelligence-driven operations. We had also effective coordination with all stakeholders involved in the process. And lastly, but I think the most important part is that there was a hands-on command and control by respective senior managers at national and provincial level. During the festive season, we also got very positive feedback back from communities during specific operations and also on the social media. And as SAPS, we continue to commit ourselves to creating, to continue as far as possible this operational approach and continued future cooperation with our external stakeholders and the optimal deployment of all available resources. And that just confirms our commitment to Vision 2030 that we as a South African Police Service want to ensure that we create a safe and secure environment in South Africa for all people. Thank you, Chair.
Right, thank you very much. That is the presentation. Members, let's go to questions, queries, responses. Honourable Bele.
Thanks, Chair. Just one very quick, simple one at this point. I'm still paging back and forth to look at the actual figures, but can I just get clarity on what is a vehicle control point as distinct from a roadblock? I would, if I hadn't been told differently, I would have assumed they were the same thing. So can I just get clarity on what the difference is between a roadblock and a VCP? Because I think I saw somewhere that the figures for both of those were not the same. That's all for now, Chair.
Right, thank you. Other members, questions? Yes, Honourable Mabija.
Thank you, Chairperson. On page 23. On page 22. On Nyaupe, I see Limpopo has got 500, taking number 3. But when I look at those graphs, I see Limpopo very low. Can you just explain the graphs and those numbers? How do they connect? Thank you.
Other members? Yeah, maybe just two from my side. In terms of, yes, I think we now note the report and the progress, and I think there was, I also saw over the festival period good visibility. But the one important thing is the lessons learned and employing them in the day-to-day operations of SAPS, because it's about deployment, high visibility. That's what the community want. And I mean, we've saw now the figures of your new recruits, the 5,000. Can I just get them maybe from a strategic point of view? What is the takeaways from this festival season? You've indicated your numerical and statistical successes compared to the previous period, but I want from a high-level strategic perspective, what do you take away from this festival period against the others to ensure better policing, back to basics? I just want to get a sense of that in terms of that. And then the budget implications. Was there more spent in terms of your deployment, senior staffing to other provinces? I just want to get a sense from a financial perspective. How did it influence your bottom line, moving people around? Honourable Mula.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you for your presentation and your hard work. But I'm confused here, Chairperson. What I wanted to see is that, like in slide 24, they say notable successes. They rate the successes on dates and provinces. But I wanted to see here is that from all your operation, how many people did you arrested and how much drugs did you have and everything? Not like this, because I can't see what is happening. Thank you, Chairperson. From each provinces, because there were roadblocks in Mpumalanga, I saw them. Roadblocks in Gauteng, I saw them. What is the overall successes? Not like this one, because I'm confused now. about the dates, the 17, the 18. What about the other days, the 1st or the 2nd or what? I don't know, Chairperson. Thank you.
On Mushlong and then again on Mbele.
No, thanks, Chairperson. No, what I wanted to find out, Chairperson, is the sustainability. I think in the first place, one need to recommend the good work that members have actually displayed. I personally, I must say, Chairperson, you could just see members everywhere you go, particularly in busy areas. And there was that really visibility of members in most of their areas. I even know I heard over the radio whereas I was at home that there was an explosion, a bomb explosion here in Vengate in the Western Cape. But then when one was following, then you could just realize the intervention by members that it was quite speedy and quite prompt. But again, if you take, for example, the situation, I want to learn from the side of national management. When there was an upsurge of murder cases, particularly in areas like Cleveland, I understand that the interventions that were made were quite prompt and quite effective. When you pulled out, and I understand, Chairperson, that again you will see a relaxation of the muscle in the area of Cleveland. Now, what could be then the kind of lessons learned at a national level after good work by intervention unit, and when you pull out, then you get maybe the situation sliding more or less to the former situation. What kind of lessons and what kind of actions are taken? Because I'm just making example, Chairperson, about the Clevelands, but I think I'm using it as a test case to say in various areas you will find more or less the same thing, to say when resources have been pulled up and when members are pulled back, those from the national intervention level, then you get the situation turning back to what it was. What are the observations from the side of national management of things that will have to be done in order to sustain that particular pace to stamp out these rock elements in these areas? Thank you very much, Chairperson.
On Mushlongo, on Mbele.
Thanks, Chair. It was just a quick second question that occurred to me after I had posed my first one. I don't think it's necessarily a big issue or a systemic issue, but I just remembered a complaint that I received in mid-December, a phone call concerning a roadblock in Mpumalanga. I think it was just outside Emalahleni, where a roadblock had been set up. It was a joint operation with the traffic police service. But it was a complaint from the owner of a petrol station where the manner in which the roadblock had been set up was basically blocking traffic or creating traffic problems for vehicles to go into and out of the petrol station. There hadn't been consultation and it was just creating a problem that need not have been the case in the context of the roadblock operation being set up. So I just wanted to get a sense of the policy guidelines and the approach to consultation. I mean, obviously, it's unavoidable that the roadblock will create bottlenecks but just the sensitivity contextually to how that approach is in place so that can be avoided as much as possible. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, members. General Phahlane and your team, thank you.
Thanks, Honorable Chair. I think it is correct to start by applauding the South African Police Service for a job well done. And the mere fact that the presentation would have confirmed that crime in all categories, in all provinces, was reduced, and they continue to do work. Maybe just on the last one that Honorable Mbele raised, no, we don't negotiate where we do roadblocks. Because if criminals come into that filling station, they don't negotiate. It is a strategic decision and an operational decision which gets taken as to where to conduct that particular roadblock. Of course, what is encouraged is that there should be an engagement to create an understanding with the people that will be affected, especially in that immediate vicinity. Because roadblocks or operations by nature will be an inconvenience to those that are on the receiving side, particularly the law-abiding citizen. You'll want to know, but why am I stopped? Because I've got everything. But it is critical that we do that to be able to do a check. So in those situations, we will encourage those that are aggrieved. For example, if a roadblock is set up, there will be someone in command there, that that person be approached and let the issue be raised. If it is something that we can attend to, it will definitely be dealt with on the ground, so that we lessen the tensions amongst us. Because while we are looking for those that are on the wrong side of the law, it is also important that we build relations and instill confidence in our communities. The one question that Honorable Belle raised was the distinction between the vehicle control point and a roadblock. The vehicle control point is more mobile, where you have the roadblock. It has got everything in it. It is properly planned. There are, what is it, road, what do you call, road signs. You get the cones. You get it's much more bigger than just your vehicle control point. So if it is a vehicle control point, I think you will find at some point maybe just the traffic or the police who are there stopping and checking, do you have a license and so on, and that's the vehicle control points that we are talking of. I will want Leon just to explain slide number 22, but let me deal with these other issues. Honorable Muller, on slide number 24, what is there could be made. That's why it's phrased as notable successes or highlights. We try to take from each province something of significance that they have done during the operation. There on the 17th of October, 250,000 what is it, cannabis seized in the Northern Cape. So we were not trying to map out everything, what happened on each day, but it is what is it that the province is celebrating out of their operations, and this is what we try to do. The need that we have expressed in terms of the overall successes, it is expressed, for example, in slide number 13, you have got the number of arrests, 83,479, and there is a breakdown per province as to how many of those people were arrested per province. The next slide will show you total arrests per crime category, and then you'll go arrest by FCS units and so on. So that need has been taken care of in the earlier slide. Honorable Chair, the issue of lessons learned. In the conclusion, General Rabi, amongst others, spoke to the hands-on approach by senior management. If there is one period where one was appreciating the role of senior management, it is over this period when we were implementing this program, because you did not find them in the offices. They were in the main on the ground. You saw them leading operations. You saw the engagement that we need with communities and so on. So that's one area which I felt that it is something to be carried forward. I, for example, in interacting with the provincial commissioners, got a sense of people who are on the ground and enjoying what they were doing. There was even a healthy competition amongst themselves in terms of who's achieving more. So I think that working together helped, from a team building perspective. The fact that we were able to deploy the senior managers, who I appreciate, were readily available to go to the provinces, and they did not go there and take over from the provincial commissioners. They understood their role and they worked together well with the provinces. I think that was important. Those are some of the lessons, but also the not just doing deployment for the sake of deployment. Deployments were informed by intelligence. Where are our challenges? The situation was analyzed. That's why we spoke about targeted deployments, and the mere fact that the concentration was not in one area. You move to different areas. The one moment you are in the malls, the one moment you are on the road in the residential areas. Though that went down well in as far as increasing visibility is concerned. Police were visible all over. The feedback we got was very, very encouraging, contrary to the belief of few, but the majority would have noted the work that the South African Police Service has done. And Chair, what we did was and the Provincial Commissioner of Gauteng is here, we have said to all the provincial commissioners, do not cease to realize this plan. I know, for example, Gauteng continues, did not take the new constables and place them in shifts at each and every station. They continue to do operations in the malls. They do a flexi hour informed by the crime situation in that particular area. Amongst others, that is why they are beginning to make a dent on the crime situation. So the best practices that came out of the implementation here of continues to be carried forward. We have decided that we don't need a break between the festive season and the Easter holidays, where our deployment was on the peak, and now we lose everything. We go Easter, we have to start from scratch. We have said, for us to make progress, let's continue on that. And in the main, the provinces are doing exactly that. We don't have the figures here, Chair, but it would have had financial implications in that there has been, overtime. The senior managers, and it was not only the lieutenant generals or the divisional commissioners or deputy national commissioners. You also had some brigadiers to specific areas. So from a financial perspective, it had some impact. Also, looking at the number of vehicles that were on the road, the number of hours that they've traveled. But I'll maybe allow General Skete to talk to that. I think, General Rabi, if you can deal with slide number 22, Honorable Mabija's question, and then maybe General Skete, if you could give an indication if you have some figures on the financial implications. Thanks, Chair.
Honourable Chair, it is correct when you look at the graph that the grams that was seized in Nyope in the Limpopo province, it amounts to 500 grams. And the reason why it's not clearly visible on the graph is because the remaining provinces, the quantities are significantly higher. That is why you see the Mpumalanga, for instance, cat, you have the grams associated with that is 143,000, while cannabis is much higher, and the same applies to Limpopo province. You will note that there's a slight little yellow bar at the top of the part of the bar on Limpopo, and that represents Nyope seizures. But it's not. The graph illustrates it in context or in relation to the remaining provinces, or all 9 provinces, and it's also in relation to the different categories of crime. That is why it's because of the amount, 500 grams, it is not as visible on the graph. Thank you.
Right, General Schutte, the last one, because we need to, there's other meeting starting I think at 1 o'clock, so we've got 3 minutes to finalize. Thanks.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thanks, National Commissioner. Yes, sir. At the beginning of the festive season here, the beginning of December, we did a performance review, expenditure analysis, and we then added approximately 170 million to the 9 provinces and 3 operational divisions budgets for overtime, and then also in the vicinity of 14 million for goods and services. But the biggest expenditure related to overtime in this regard. Members must just remember also that we had a local election for which we also had to cater for. So also based on that, we needed to supplement. But I think one can say, because it was during December, sir, and normally this festive season scenario is until the end of January, but as you've seen, some of the provinces might even have stretched it a bit further. I think we can go in the vicinity of 170 million. That's what we allocated in an official allocation letters for overtime, and approximately 14 million for goods and services, sir.
Right, yes, General, is there something else?
The question by Honorable Mhlongo is not responded to in as far as sustainability and Cleveland's. The work we did in Cleveland's, Honorable Chair, continue to be filtered into what we are doing going forward. It is not possible to keep the force levels as high as they were, but we will continue to revisit that situation to deal with the incidents of crime. And maybe, Chair, just lastly, I have taken note of the observation on the Stats SA, the Victim of Crime survey. We will appreciate if there are specific issues around which we must brief the committee, if those issues can be raised with us for us to incorporate them in the work that we are currently busy with to try and understand what that survey had said from a policing perspective. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honourable members. Thank you.